EAGLES, Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen, wrapping up another week here, getting closer here to OTAs and everything that's coming up in Eagle Land. We had rookie minicamp last week. Johnny Mack, how you doing on this Football Friday, my friend?
Doing well. We're slowly making our way through it. Almost OTA time. Before you know it, NFL schedule will be here either next week or the week after. Still no, as they try to sell off the extra Monday night football games. That's what that's about, by the way. They're trying to sell them off to Netflix and YouTube, and evidently YouTube is balking about something. So we're hesitating on the schedule. Everything's about money with this league.
So what are they doing? They're pushing the schedule release back a week because they're trying to maximize their earnings here.
Exactly. Not necessarily. I mean, They haven't officially announced the time. It's either going to be next week, May 13th, May 14th, or the week after. And the whole holdup is they're trying to sell these extra games that they got back. Remember, NFL Network is now ESPN essentially. So, you take away those extra Monday night games, and you have these extra slate of games that are on the market. Netflix is going to take some of them, and YouTube was supposed to take the other group. And evidently YouTube is balking about something. So they're trying to work that out. It's all about money for an extra package of TV games, which is the whole NFL basically. And literally the whole.
John,
NFL.
what's it cost right now to get the rights to an NFL game?
Well, it depends. Obviously, the major packages are ridiculous, and they're loss leaders for their companies, for CBS and Fox and yada yada yada. These little crust, like Netflix picks up the Christmas games and Amazon the Black Friday game. They're probably, I'd have to look it up, but $100 million, I'm guessing, for one game. Is that worth it? I doubt it, but hey, nothing else draws ratings. So, and then you have this whole Nielsen thing, which is just a complete joke.
Yeah, it is.
I cannot believe
you've opened my eyes to this Nielsen scam.
Oh my God, you see the NBA every day, the largest ever. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, who's buying this shit? Who is buying this shit? And you got people setting their whole budgets from. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, it's one thing for the regular public to buy it. It's another thing for decision makers to be buying it.
That's the problem. That's who I'm talking to.
Right.
I'm like, you have to be kidding me. They changed their methodology, and so they basically self-reported on themselves when they changed their methodology. They basically said, "Oh, the stuff we've been doing for 20 years before this, it's complete bullshit. Here's the new version." And then, as the new version got rolling, a lot of people complained because the NFL was doing well, live sports were doing well, everything else was getting destroyed. And everybody's like, what's going on? Why? And if you have enough money and you complain loud enough, they change their methodology again. But the NBA recently does anybody believe the NBA's never had higher ratings? Anybody?
No, that can't be.
It's absurd. It just as think about the old days when you had, NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and a couple UHF stations. Even before Fox, you had that. It just used to be the big three and a couple of UHF stations locally. And you only had that grouping of choices, basically. So obviously the ratings were higher then. It makes sense because you don't have many choices. Now you have this entire fragmented world of basically unlimited options, and all of a sudden ratings are spiking to this. Again, it just defies common sense. Just from the mere fragmentation of the audience, it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, I don't care if fans believe that. It's not their fault, but the decision makers, to your point, it's like astonishing that they accept.
Well, John, in lights, there's a lot of shit that seems to be a racket, my friend. And Nielsen ratings,
it is an unbelievable racket. Unbelievable.
Add it to the list, my friend. Add it to the list here. So what's going to happen? They're now just going back and forth on who's going to get these games. YouTube.
Yeah, and it'll be they have to do it at some point, but obviously they want to announce when they announce the schedule, they do the rollout and they talk about the international games and the Christmas Day games and the Thanksgiving Day. It's always a big story. I don't know why, but it's always a big story. And they want to have all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, and they don't have them crossed yet. So could be an extra week or two, but they're used to everybody just bending over backward and say, we'll do this, we'll do that. And they're getting some pushback a little bit, which I'm glad they're getting some pushback. Because, look, I'm all for everybody making money. I'm not a communist or a socialist, but there is a point where your greed overtakes common sense. And I think we've gotten there with pro sports in general.
John, you might be right about that, my friend. We will see what happens with that. The YouTube TV and all that, or whatever they're doing to try and air these football games. I guess Sunday Ticket's still on YouTube, right? That's now like $500. It's like,
by the way, Game 7 here as an example. Game 7, Sixers Celtics averaged 11. This is from NBA and NBC and Peacock. Game 7, the Sixers Celtics on May 2nd averaged 11 million viewers on NBC and Peacock, the most watched first round Game 7 ever. And the most watched first.
Simply due to this, Theo Bears like 5.3 billion people in the 90s. Now there's over 8 billion people. Is that a simple? Could it be explained by that? Just a simple population?
Well, first of all, these are U.S. TV ratings, so forget about the world's population.
Right. Okay.
The most first round Game 7 ever, and the most watched first round game in 27 years. Okay. Yeah, I call bullshit. Again, when you had the average person, think how many options you have when you sit down and want to watch TV. How many stinking options do you have?
Even if I'm not a TV guy, I'm a YouTube guy. I go on YouTube. There's 14 million options on my YouTube account alone.
Exactly. And think about the options 27 years ago. It doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't pass the smell test at all, even with the growth of the population, Theo. Good point. All right, good stuff, Johnny Mac. A little, I'm looking now. It does say around 100 million. All right, so valued at approximately 110 billion over 11 years. Oh my goodness, that was the last one. Now they're around $100 million. Single playoff game around 100 million beans. Anybody want to come up with 100 million? Maybe we'll air a game right
for
here.
For a single garbage Christmas Day game.
Yeah, right.
Which half of them aren't even relevant. They get them. I remember
who played last year.
Both of them were irrelevant, if I recall, from a playoff standpoint.
Cowboys, Commanders. Lions, Vikings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Broncos Chiefs was the night game. So
now the Lions, the Lions were involved. The Vikings were not. What was the Cowboys, Commanders? Cowboys not
at
relevant.
That point they weren't. Yeah. Cowboys were clawing back to 500. Yeah.
So one team had to play basically, and I think they lost. They might have lost. But anyway. Yeah. And so many Thanksgiving games are that way to begin with, and a lot of that had to do with the lines just being terrible for so many years, but and always not being relevant on Thanksgiving, but there's the tradition. Point is, I wouldn't pay $100 million for that, but people will.
Wouldn't either. Let's go to Jason Gates. He says, "Hey fellas, I'm catching you live today for once. I just want to say keep up the great work, and as always, go Birds." Jason, thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you tuning in every day, and good to have you here on the live show, Jason. Appreciate all you guys for doing it today on a Football Friday. We got some good topics we'll talk about today. We have Chris Franklin in hour number 2, so looking forward to talking to Chris Franklin. John, I was reading an article today from The Athletic that listed the Eagles as having the number 1 offseason of any title contenders. I said, all right, I don't think it's been a bad offseason. I don't think there's a lot to complain about this offseason. I think they've handled business pretty well. The number 1 offseason of any team? I don't know. I don't know that they're the number 1 offseason right now in the NFC East. John McMullen, what say you?
Well, that's Howie Roseman love. I mean, that's what that is.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
you know, Howie's reputation has gotten to the point where, like, I talked about it with the draft, so I don't know who wrote that, but I'll have to check it out. Do you know who wrote that? You're muted, Zander.
Ted Nguyen.
Ted Gwynn, I believe.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Look, it's one person's opinion. I think, I don't know Ted, but my assumption is, you know, that's some Howie Roseman love. And like you talk about the draft and how many good draft grades they got. Look, I say if you want to bring the context into it and add Jonathan Grenard and Dontavian Wicks, I do think they had a good draft overall. In what they were able to acquire. But most people don't do that, and they're just talking about the draft picks, and they're talking about how great the Eagles did in a division where, you know, the Dallas Cowboys got maybe the best defensive player in the draft. The Washington Commanders got a top 10 player in the draft, and somebody who our buddy Ian Cummings said was the best player in the draft. And then the New York Giants had 2 top 10 picks, and both of them are pretty significant additions. And everybody's saying, why? Because it's Howie. Don't get me wrong. Howie's the best GM in the NFL. I'll be the first in that line. I've been saying it for years when I used to get killed for it. I remember Mike Kay and I, you know, going back and forth with people because we were trying to explain that, you know, this guy's pretty good at his job. And we were taking on some significant shrapnel. So I have tremendous respect for Howie and his abilities. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that is, well, Howie's great. Howie's, and people don't like, and as great as he is, that doesn't mean he's perfect. So they default to Howie's great and everything he does is great. Well, you know, not everything. A lot of it looks good. You know, there's a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks, starting with the coaching staffs, starting with the changes, starting with the schemes. And he's not in charge of that, but it's, you know, part of his responsibility. And then when it comes to the roster as well, you know, did he do the right thing? Is he handling the AJ Brown stuff correctly? Like, to me, it's really difficult to say, you know, we're all under the presumption that AJ's not going to be here. So let's just play that game for a while. And AJ Brown's not an Eagle. Being facetious because he's not going to be an Eagle. Now, people can talk themselves into whatever they want to talk. If you think Mekhi Lemon's coming in here and being A.J. Brown or some kind of upgrade over A.J. Brown, you know, good luck with that.
No. But can the collective, you know, make up for 65% of the player?
Well, that's the thing. You're moneyballing it. Maybe,
Right. That's where I got it from. You've been saying that all summer. That's what we're doing.
And you know, I do think there's the natural bounce back effect because so many people had down years on offense that they're going to bounce. I've talked about that a lot. So I do think the offense is going to be better, but I think it's more of, human things like human nature and intangible stuff. Defensively, I like the Jonathan Grenard move, and I think they made the right decision. As difficult as it is with N'Kobe, I think Jihad's going to be a better player. I know people don't agree with me, but that's where I am. They're just really good on defense, and you have one obvious hole, but everybody's got holes. I mean, nothing's perfect. But there's too many questions on the offense, and again, when you talk about talent additions, and a lot of it is the nature of the NFL, and you're designed to be dragged down when you're good. And the reason the other teams in the NFC East were able to add significant talent is because they stink or they have stunk. And they get to pick better players amongst a better group of players. And maybe Caleb Downs isn't as good as I think he is. And maybe Sonny Styles isn't as good as Ian Cummings thinks he is. And maybe Arvell Reese is a tweener and they can't figure out, is he an off-ball linebacker? Is he an edge rusher? Maybe that impacts him. Maybe they don't work, and maybe Mekhi Lemon works. But on paper, to sit there and say they got a better player in the draft, just to use a little example, than those three teams, that's nuts. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think in some areas the Eagles have done well, but a lot of it is right, John. You're right. It's personnel based, and the more of the questions remain to me less on personnel and more on, like you just explained, scheme and all those different things that are changing for the Eagles. But do you think it's fair? I mean, he listed it as one of the better off seasons of contenders. I mean, there are off seasons for non-contenders, and then there are off seasons for the teams who legitimately have a shot to compete every year. Are the Eagles in that mix to you? I mean, if you take the scheme thing out of it, personnel wise.
Well, I'd have to, I haven't paid a ton of attention to just the contenders.
I'm sure, and also who gauges what they are? I mean, they change every year, I mean,
I'm sure a bunch have done an okay job. A bunch have gone back. They're in the same position. If you're a contender, you're trying to get dragged back to the middle, just like the Eagles are. So they have some of the same hurdles. They're not getting top 10 picks. That's why I was just comparing it to the NFC East and Howie's reputation. I mean, people default to Howie. They should default to Howie. Yeah, he's doing the right things. Why wouldn't you? So I think that's where it spawns from. That's all I'm trying to explain. Not necessarily breaking things down analytically. I think it boils down to, hey, Howie's really good at his job and he's doing a good job, which he probably is. But, as far as the contender part of it, I mean, like, people are going to look at the Rams and say, "Why are you taking Ty Simpson at 13?" You're one of the best teams in football, and you're taking a guy who's not relevant for you, certainly this season, barring injury. Everything's barring injury. And generally, because of trades, you're in a position to get a draft pick that can help you dramatically. Mekhi Lemon, you need a wide receiver. Everybody sort of projected them together. And you're in a position to get a receiver to help you, and you go in a different direction, which is more about, 2027, 2028, whenever Matthew decides to walk away, if he does. So, and most people are going to say, what are you doing? As most people have, because everybody's hyper focused on immediacy, and they've obviously gone in a different direction. They think they're good enough now, but they want to make sure they're good for the long term, or as long term as possible. So, and that's just one example. As far as the other contenders, yeah, I have to look at it more closely. But I don't think the Eagles have had a bad off season. I'm just trying to say, basically, people default to Howie because of his reputation, which is deserved.
Yeah, it's earned in some regards. So it's a good point from that perspective. If you look at John, like let's look at the NFC playoffs last year and just kind of run through what that looked like. You had Seahawks. I don't know what we thought of their offseason. Panthers, Rams. Rams obviously have had a very good offseason. Eagles and 49ers. I think the 49ers have had a great offseason as well. And then Bears and
their draft. People killed their draft, the 49ers.
Yeah, they killed their draft, but they've done a lot of good things with their roster. 49ers. I mean, they got Christian Kirk, they got Mike Evans, Trent Williams. They traded for Osa Obidigizua, or however you pronounce his name. They got those two offensive linemen, interior O linemen, and I thought it was pretty good. And I don't know, their draft was mediocre, but bolstered the D line and the O line and grabbed an extra pass catcher for Brock Purdy, Mike Evans, and Christian Kirk. You know, I thought pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the article, but it's, you know, what if I presume, you know, people are excited over Grenard and Woolen to the defense. I presume people are excited about Sean Mannion in the offense. With the Niners, you know, Stribling, 33rd overall, people are killing that pick. I'm not in love with the Mike Evans signing at that age. You know, new team, Hall of Fame player, but again, you know, this is young man's game. So compared to what they were a couple years ago when they were really explosive and Brandon Ayuk didn't go off the reservation and Deebo Samuel was still a good player, you know, I don't think they're at that level. Certainly. I didn't think, you know, I thought the 49ers were going to have a good season last year, but that was because of their schedule. Last place schedule, bunch of injuries, and I thought, well, they're a good team, but I don't think they're a great team by any stretch. In fact, I still look at that loss and call it unacceptable because of just what they rolled in here with. So, I mean, I think the Seahawks have done a good job as a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, they let some guys go, but also got some good deals done.
Yeah. I've been like the Fowler signing recently this week.
What'd you think of them letting go Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a bad move at all. I think people are hyped that he had a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Kind of a return to what we've been seeing, what we've become accustomed to with running backs in the NFL, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's probably not lived up to what they expected. I would say.
He went where? The Chiefs?
Chiefs. And then they ended up getting Jadarian Price with the 32nd pick, and I'm like, that's what I predicted him to do, and I think he'll be a better player. So, and then you have Charbonneau coming back I don't know when he's going to come back, but yeah, I actually think that made a lot of sense because he's getting overpaid because of the Super Bowl performance. And I don't think he's as good as his Super Bowl performance. So I actually think that was a smart move. And I like Jadarian Price. I probably shouldn't have been a first round pick, but who cares if you're the Super Bowl champions and picking at 32. Who cares?
Yeah, take who you like. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And as I said, Charbonneau should be back at some point. I like you add Fowler to the mix. You think about that front. They don't have a lot of big names, but as you saw, if you watch the playoffs, they're pretty good on defense. And it's DeMarcus Lawrence, which people here know from the Cowboys, and Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed. And now you add Dante Fowler to that mix, and they still have Ernest Jones, and they still have Witherspoon, and they still have Julian Love. Now they lost Tariq Woolen. Amin Wari was one of the best rookie defenders in the NFL last year. Yeah, I think they've done a good job to, it's hard to repeat, but I think they're in a position to be in the conversation. And some of that will have to do with Sam and how consistent he is. Yeah. But I think they've had a decent offseason and that makes sense because John Snyder's there.
Yeah, he's a great GM. He's one of the better GMs in football. Yeah,
exactly. So
Rams have had a good offseason. I mean, I know people don't like that 13th overall pick, which I understand, but outside of that, I think they've done good things. I mean, the trade for Trent McDuffie, that's a big deal for that team. I mean, their secondary was weak, and that's a big time player.
Well, I imagine people who do criticize it are criticizing the one pick, and they're talking about immediacy in their contender, and they should get somebody who can help them. But overall, they're obviously in a good position. I mean, you saw what they did with the tight ends last year, and Parkinson and Higbee and Ferguson, and now they add Max Clare, the guy I thought the Eagles might go after, the more well-rounded tight ends. I mean, so they can go about it both ways. They haven't gotten the receiver, but they got 97 tight ends who can play. And we saw Sean McVay and what he was able to do with that. Maybe that helps. You know what? Maybe that helps Matthew Stafford at this stage of his career because he is getting older. And then the defense is, I'm still not in love with their linebackers, never have been.
I know, but their defensive line is great, and now their secondary.
Oh, their front is, their front might be.
It's one of the better ones in the league. I'd say top 5 front.
Oh, easily. It might be number 1.
You
talk about Verse, Byron Young, Poona Ford. You can stop the run. Braden Fisk is unbelievable. Kobe Turner is so underrated. He might be the best of them all. I think Verse is, but he might be. They are gifted up front. That's their whole thing. And then their secondary, they had McDuffie. I mean, I don't give a shit about Ty Simpson. He's not going to be relevant. So I get why people are saying that because why don't you draft Mekhi Lemon? Because it's been that way. It's been Mekhi Lemon to the Rams. The Eagles thought he would go to the Rams. Everybody thought he'd go to the Rams. Well, maybe they like the 12 personnel thing. And they still have Parkinson, and they still have Higbee, and they still have Ferguson, and now they have Max Clare to add to it. And Davis Allen, add him in there. Maybe they like it. That helps the running game. Because Kyron Williams is good, but he's not great. Blake Corum's good, but he's not great. So it helps the running game. And they use that same wide zone stretch, the thing the Eagles are trying to do and copy. They have a good offensive line. They still have Puka if he, solves his issues. Devontae Adams is still there. It's still a really good team. And you add McDuffie to that defense, which, I know AJ Brown could get the better of Trent McDuffie. I don't know if anybody else on the Eagles can.
Yeah, that's true. I think Smitty can, but it's got to be the right situation. Are you concerned about Smitty as a wide receiver 1, John? It's one thing to say, though, like a player is talented enough to do it, but it's another thing to see it in action where defenses are going to shift, obviously, coverages to Smitty. Now there's no A.J. Brown taking away some of that pressure. you're getting cornerback one every week. Like I said yesterday, think about a defensive coordinator last year versus this upcoming year. They got to handle AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, offensive line, Jalen Hurts' legs, and then DeVonta Smith. It's like now it's DeVonta Smith in the run game. That's it. That's first thing. So that changes the way game plans are going to be built around stopping the offense. How much does an impact does that have on DeVonta Smith, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. I think he's going to be good. He's just good. He's a good football player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He's going to get more attention. It's going to be more difficult. In theory, it's even going to be more difficult than it was for AJ because AJ had DeVonta. DeVonta's not going to have AJ or somebody of DeVonta's ilk. So in theory, you can even be more hyper focused on stopping the number one option. So yeah, it's not going to be as easy for him, but he is really good. My biggest concern with DeVonta is the traffic, and by that I mean, the elevated targets and touches, because while he's shown himself to be able to play at his weight and he's very physical and all that kind of stuff, the more car crashes there are, the more opportunity it is to get hurt.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair way to look at it, Johnny Mac. All right, John, looking at the NFC while we're doing this, we'll stick on the NFL for a little bit and just kind of look at how it all relates to the Eagles. But the 7 playoff teams last year, as we just ran down, were the Seahawks, the Bears, the Eagles, the Panthers, and then the Rams, Niners, and Packers. And then right outside, you had the Vikings, the Lions. So that NFC North was right on the outside there. Bucks, Falcons, Cowboys, Saints, Commanders, Giants, Cardinals. I'll pull that up. Who do you think, and this is early, you can change all this. This is just kind of your early thoughts post NFL draft, but who do you think are the biggest risers on this list? And who do you think could be the biggest fallers on this list? There's a team I really liked last year that I unfortunately think could be a faller this year, and that would be the Chicago Bears, in my opinion. We will see if they do fall or if Caleb Williams takes a big step forward and they can keep it on the tracks. But what would be your perspective on that, John? I'll pull it up on the screen here so people can see the rankings. Did you lose me?
No, I got you.
Oh,
I thought you were going to pull it up on the screen.
Oh, I'm pulling it up now. My
bad. Yeah, I was just waiting for that. But yeah, well, you start looking at, obviously, there's not every team's going to make the playoffs. We all know, worst to first. There's always so you kind of look at. I kind of do it opposite. I'm like, all right, who's gonna get back into the playoffs, or who's likely to move into the playoffs? And the teams in that conversation would be, to me, everybody in the NFC South, because Carolina won it, but they stink. They were under 500. So Atlanta, to me, remains the most gifted team in that division. We'll see if Kevin Stefanski can get it going. The NFC North is just good. The Bears are good. The Packers are good. The Vikings should be good again, just with the change at quarterback. They signed Jawan Jennings, by the way, yesterday. So you add him to Jefferson and Addison, and you have a quarterback, and you start going, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Detroit, I think, is down. I think it's going down, unfortunately, but they're still good. So one of the problems with that division, you got 4 teams that are going to be beating up on each other because they should all be competitive. But yeah, the Bears could certainly take a step back. And then the Seahawks, I think, have done a decent job. As I mentioned, the Rams are clearly, to me, the best team out west. And the Eagles remain the best team in the NFC East. But I do think Dallas is closing the gap. If you ask me, Did the Eagles extend over Dallas, or is the gap closed? I would say the gap is closed. Because they've gotten better defensively. On paper, we all like Christian Parker in this town. I think he's going to be better than Matt Eberflus. I don't think that's going to be that difficult. So, I don't. To me, the two teams that have stayed relatively stagnant are the Seahawks and the Rams. And the Eagles are. I don't put the Eagles in that category because there's too much uncertainty on offense. Could be good, could be bad.
I think the Rams got better.
Well, they've at least sustained. I'll say it that way. They may have gotten better. You may be right. But they've at least sustained. And I think the Seahawks have relatively sustained or gotten, slightly better. The Eagles maybe, and the Eagles may even have a higher ceiling if everything goes correctly. But boy, people have really turned the page on just the nuttiness of what they've done with the offensive coaching staff. And by that, I mean, look, the whole narrative was, all right, Kevin's overmatched, first-time play caller, got to get in a veteran play caller. Let's go get Mike McDaniel. Let's go get Brian Daboll. Can't get him. Shift gears to a guy with far less experience than Kevin Patullo. I mean, what am I missing here other than people willfully saying, well, what am I missing? Guy's never called a play in his life. Guy's been coaching for 2 years.
See, my concern with Mannion is actually less on Mannion and more about just the situation in which he's in. In other words, I think he has shown at least some signs that I think he could be a good coach long term. Now, I can't say that definitively. Like you just said, he's never called a play. But are the Eagles prepared to hire a coach that inevitably has to start with training wheels? They've never been that patient enough in the past. And I get why they're a contender. They don't have time to be patient, but they hired somebody that requires a semblance of patience. I don't think they're going to have it.
Well, that's because they didn't get who they wanted, which I think people have quietly memory hold. They didn't get who they wanted. Let's be honest.
You didn't buy the Nick Sirianni story of, he interviewed 17 and got.
No, I buy it after, after it became clear certain guys were going in different directions. Then they sort of rebooted it and went with who they thought was the best guy. Now, I believe that part of it, but people are forgetting the first part of it, which is guys they didn't want to come here for various reasons. And if Mike McDaniel would have agreed to come here, he'd be the offensive coordinator, period. End of sentence.
He was never coming here.
He never was. That's the whole.
He's going to have a field day over there with Justin Herbert in that offense.
People are memory holding that because they want to. Because they want to be optimistic, and that's fine. And nothing wrong with that. But I'm not going to lie to you. Say, oh, they got the guy they wanted. They got the guy they wanted after the guys they wanted went in a different direction. So if you're talking about the guys they hired, and they hired 50 of them, 50 of the finalists, they liked him better than Josh Grisard. They liked him better than Jared Johnson. They liked him better than Jim Bob Cooter. They liked him better than those guys. That's fair to say. I don't think it's fair to say they liked him better than Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll specifically.
Well, we will see how it shakes out. John, just a question here as you just brought up, quarterback or offense. John, if you could pick one quarterback in the NFL today to start a team with, who would you pick to start your team with and build around?
Ooh. Oh boy. That's a good question. Who would I start my team around? Hmm.
We don't have to go like a long-term thing. So like you could pick Stafford. You don't have to be like, well, he's going to retire in 2 years, so I'm not going to build my team around it. I'm just talking about skill set, player, make them all same age, same height of their career.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, I'm presuming this is a good team. Then it's easy. But I'm trying to. I think the more relevant one is like who was the guy you would build around. I think that is the more relevant question because it's easy to pick. Well, Matthew's the best quarterback right now. He's the MVP. I take Matthew Stafford, but he's also whatever 38, 39.
Right.
So I'm thinking about the guys who I actually build around, and boy, there aren't a lot of guys I'd like to build around, to be perfectly honest. And boy, this is going to piss people off, but I'm going.
I think I know. I think I have an idea of who. I'll tell you if I'm right after you say it.
My answer would be one guy, but he gets injured too much, and it's my answer. My overall answer, final answer, in the weakest link, Jeopardy, whatever. Justin Herbert.
That's what I was going to say. Justin Herbert. I thought you were going to go.
I mean, it would be Joe Burrow, but
right.
Too many injuries.
And
I think Joe would be the guy if there weren't those injuries, but yeah, it'd be Justin. But boy, they give me that question really, and Josh Allen might be still. I should have put him in the equation.
I love Josh, but too many mistakes.
Yeah, a little bit too reckless. He's always been a little bit too reckless for me. But he should be in the conversation. But there aren't a lot of guys in the conversation. There really aren't. I mean, a lot of people like Drake May. I'm not nearly as high on Drake May as other people are. I give him credit for having that season last year, but you talk about a team that's going. I'm pretty confident, and that's what I've said. Like, yeah, give me a future pick from New England because they're not going to be as good. I'm pretty confident in that. Lamar's obviously aging. That factors into it. Cleveland's not relevant. Aaron Rodgers, CJ Stroud, coming off that. Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence is sleeper because I do like him, but Cam Ward, Bo Nix, better than I thought he'd be. Patrick, coming off the injury and at his stage of his career. Fernando Mendoza, Dak Prescott, very good quarterback, but again, Jackson Dart, who I like as a young player, but let's be honest, you have Jaden Daniels probably should have considered, but injuries and Howie, he's still not
he holds up. Yeah,
it's still not going to be him. Caleb's got to be in the conversation, but just too many mistakes. Jared Goff, Jordan Love should be in the conversation, but I don't think he's at that level talent-wise. Kyler's not in the conversation. Obviously, Bryce Young, Tyler Shuck, Baker Mayfield, whatever Atlanta's going to do. Arizona, the Rams, Stafford, obviously Purdy, and Sam Darnold. I mean, yeah, it's Justin Herbert.
People won't like that. They won't understand.
No, they won't like it. They won't understand it, and they won't like it.
The only thing they'll say is if he chokes in the playoffs.
He chokes in the playoffs, Zander.
Why do you pick him? It's the talent, right? The raw arm talent, the ability. What is it about
size, Herbert? Toughness, age. He can make every throw. He's tremendously athletic. I think, as you saw when the Eagles played the Chargers this year, if you're an Eagles fan, despite that size, smart, grounded. He's got everything you want in a quarterback.
Yeah,
Why everybody talks so highly of him. Plays through injury. And this year, at some point, same thing. They'll have Alt and Slater back this year. It'll be a whole different ball game for the Chargers. Their offensive line was an abject disaster last year because of injuries.
Yeah, that should get better this year with those 2 tackles returning, and they did do some stuff on the interior, didn't they? Or not?
Yeah, I mean, Mackay had a really bad year for them.
He did.
And
I think he's still a free agent.
He's still a free agent. They drafted Jake Slaughter, so he might have been the best center in the draft. They also brought in Tyler Biotic from the Commanders, so they have 2 options. They brought in Cole Strange, so they remade. Right now I'm looking at Orlad's depth charts, and they have Biotic starting at center, Slaughter starting at left guard, and Cole Strange starting at right guard with Slater and Alt. So they've completely remade their offensive line, the interior. They also brought in Coyote Awasika, former Eagles undrafted great. So he'll be in the mix as well. But yeah, they're much better on paper. And just like Joe Alt's like an all-pro level tackle. And Rashawn Slater's like an all-pro level tackle.
Yeah, they're
both, those guys.
Yeah, they
awesome.
go down. Yeah, that's like losing Lane and Mailata.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
That's not easy. John, going over to the AFC. Good answer, by the way, on the quarterback. I have no problem with your pick. I think Justin Herbert's a great player. AFC, who do you think the risers and fallers over here are? I know we're not as focused on the AFC being an Eagles show and an NFC East division and obviously the NFC conference, but take a look at the AFC. You obviously already tipped your hand on what you think of the Patriots, but how do you see the rest of this?
Yeah, the Patriots are a different faller. I think the Texans are going to be good for that defense, and CJ Stroud's going to bounce back. The Bills, as long as the Chargers are a riser to me for what we just talked about.
Yeah, agreed. I think McDaniel's going to be a good fit there too, actually.
Broncos are good, but they're going to take a step back. Jags are going to take a step back. Steelers are, presumably Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, but they'll be 10-7 again, but they don't have Mike Tomlin, so maybe they're 8-9. They're not great. Can Indy do it again? Can Baltimore bounce back? Probably. They have a lot of good. The AFC is better than the NFC again. Now, then you start getting.
I don't know if I agree with that at all.
Oh, I think so. Because if you talk, you go down to the bottom. Now, the Titans stink, the Jets stink, the Raiders stink, and the Dolphins stink. So those are 4 of the worst teams in football. And probably will continue to be. Although, you should see incremental improvement from the Titans, maybe the Jets, maybe even the Raiders, not the Dolphins. They'll go backwards. The Bengals, if Joe is healthy for 17 games, which is big if, they're going to win more than 6 games. The Chiefs are going to win more than 6 games if Patrick comes back.
Yeah. He got injured late. I hope Mahomes is back. By the way, my answer to the question I asked you about quarterbacks, I would go Mahomes. That would be my easy pick.
Yeah, I can't at this stage. I can't. Obviously at his height, yes, but I think.
So you think Mahomes is on the descent right now? You don't think? Okay. Do. You don't think he'll have a Brady curve, where you go 10 years of no playoffs and you come back and you're just as freaking good. Brady was maybe better at 40 than he was at 30. I mean, not many will say that.
I don't think Patrick's going to be a good 40-year-old quarterback.
Nah, not good enough mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think the shelf life. Now the thing about the AFC last year, like I thought the top teams were not nearly as good as it looked on paper. Denver, the Patriots, Jacksonville. You know, it looks good, 14-3, 14-3, 13-4. But it's kind of the better teams to me, like Baltimore might jump back. Indianapolis was unbelievable until Daniel Jones got hurt. You know, we'll see if he can come back. The Chargers, again, without their tackles, the Texans, in my opinion, have the best defense in football. So I think that top three is coming back, but I think there's a bunch of people rising. And if I could, if you say, like, how many teams could make the playoffs in the NFC, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4,
10, 11,
5,
maybe a little more.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, can you put the NFC back up?
Yeah.
Let me see how many who could make the playoffs.
There's the NFC.
So 1, 2, 3. Boy, I don't like Carolina.
John does not like.
Well, yeah, you know what?
I think you're a little hard on Carolina, dude.
Well, it's not that bad either. You know, it's not. There's going to be a lot because the NFC South is all 4 and the NFC North is all 4. So it's not going to work out the way.
Right.
But the NFC South is not a good division. The NFC North is.
What do you think Kellen Moore's Saints do this year?
Well, they can win that division. Anybody could win that division.
Yeah.
But the three
Kellen did a pretty good job last year, I thought, all things considered.
Yeah,
I think they won their last 4 games of the year, if I remember correctly.
Whoever wins that division, like last year, was Carolina. That the other 3 teams are not going to be that good. So, could they make the playoffs? All 4 could make the playoffs, but only one's going to make the playoffs. The winner of the division, who might be 9-8 or 8-9 again. Now, Atlanta's the one team I think that is better than the rest from a talent perspective. Then they could jump up and be a decent team, I think. But they have concerns at quarterback. You know, it's tough to, and the same thing with Minnesota. It's tough to gauge a team that you don't know what they're going to get at quarterback at all. And Minnesota's better than last year because Kyler can play. It's just a matter of can he stay healthy. But in the case of the Falcons, you're talking about Michael Penix coming off another injury or Tua. Like, that's not great. But you start looking at, you know, Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and the offensive line is still good. And Bijan Robinson, who might be the best running back in football. I mean, they have, I would say they have more talent than the rest of the division. But, I mean, the quarterback is going to be an issue. So it's tough to project them as being more than 500-ish. Nobody's 500, but you get the point.
Yeah. And we'll be soon. We'll be up to 18 games soon, John.
Yeah.
How many years are you – will that happen next year? When's that on the docket for? When are they trying to do that?
You know, it's a bit of a hurdle from the PR perspective because the NFL has to, you know, carefully admit that they don't give a shit about the player's health while claiming they care about the player's health. So.
Yeah, well, Rodgers' whole thing has been like, well, the preseason, nobody cares about the preseason, and our fans have shown that by the way they engage with the preseason. So lessen the preseason and add another real game.
Well, yeah. But that doesn't hold water because the starters don't play in the preseason. So
well, maybe part of that's intentional. I mean, they delegitimized the preseason to use it as a leg to add a game and remove a preseason game.
Well, I think they're going to have to give up. Like I said, I think the working idea is they're going to change the offseason calendar. There'll be no more OTAs. This 9-week that we're going through right now, this 9-week period will not exist anymore. And they will come to training camp a little bit earlier. So I think that's the working idea from the player side. You know, but we'll see how it shakes out. And certainly they'll probably have one less preseason game, but as well, which are meaningless. So, and it'd be nice if they got rid of them altogether, but I don't think they would.
No,
they can still charge for everything, parking and whatnot. So,
it's still good for for the family of four who can't spend $2,500 to go to an Eagle game, and they can go to.
I mean, I'm not saying
about it. Yeah, is that people can go to the preseason games and not. I mean, literally take out a freaking mortgage to go to a football game.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy how much it costs to go to a game.
I don't even I'm not saying it's fan friendly at all. I mean, they're pricing the average person out. I even say, people hit me hard with, because the Eagles autism charity thing is this weekend. So
is that this weekend? I saw that Coop was going, right? I think they put that out yesterday. Cooper's Gene will be there.
So, it's a great cause and all that kind of stuff. But I even like when they do the open practice, they charge $10. And I'm like, they shouldn't charge for that. And they say, well, it's for charity. And I'm like, there's this presumption. I always talk about the regressive nature of politics. I'm going off on a tangent. And I always talk about like bridge tolls. Like just because $40 doesn't mean anything to you or most of the doesn't mean it doesn't mean nothing to other people. It's like, you might have people scraping by paycheck to paycheck and never get to see their favorite team. And I don't like it. And people, well, it's for charity. Hey, guess what? If you don't have money to live, you can't give to charity. And maybe you'd like to go see your favorite team, once a year. So, but I get a lot of pushback because it's for charity. Yeah, I can pay it. Some people can't. Why is that so hard for people to understand? I don't know. I always talk about bridges. I'm like, every once in a while I go over that damn bridge and I don't even think about it. They just take the money, take the money.
I know. I just got hit with my damn my you know how they like up your I'm in Pennsylvania, so my Easy Pass, they like up your renewal. So like if you use it next amount of time, like it was like $30 and it would renew every time I spent.
When it started, by the way, it was you got a break. You had like at the time, I think it was $5 to go, and you would get charged like $4 or $4.50. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, but then they like upped it. Now it's like $50, and then it went to $70. Now it's like $110 is my renewal. And I went on there. I'm like, I don't want to give you $110 every time it renews. Can I just get $50 and renew it more often if I need to? And they're like, nope, can't go lower anymore. You cannot renew at less than $110 a time. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah. That, one time the Eagles were playing in Pittsburgh and I drove out there. And so you're getting jacked on, the Pennsylvania Turnpike the whole way. That's a pretty significant toll now. And all of a sudden, so they take the money out when you get whatever it is, $15, the threshold. And because I made that one trip, they used to do, I think, $75. They used to take out $75 at a time. And all of a sudden, Easy Pass, $175. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's the adjustment?
Yeah.
I drove out. I had to literally contact him. I drove out to Pittsburgh once. I don't plan on doing that consistently. And it's like, nope, nothing we can do about it.
Oh, it's egregious.
It's like,
Speaking of tolls, you guys want to hear a crazy toll story here? My brother lives in North Jersey, John. He has a business he owns or started in New York City. So he travels in from North Jersey to the city every day. You know what it cost him every single day to drive into New York City?
Oh my God, driving. It's got to be, the tunnel's got to be $15-20 now.
It's costing him almost $38 a day. He spends $800+ a month on tolls.
Yeah.
I'm like, brother, you got to make a change there, man. I would not in my right mind be able to do that.
I never drive. When I have to go to New York, I never drive.
Well, it's a catch-22 for him. He just had a daughter, and he needs to bridge the gap of working all damn day at his business and trying to be home. And the New Jersey Transit's horrible. It's never on time.
It's terrible. It's
never
terrible.
on time. So it's like I guess it's my best option at this point. So yeah, it's a catastrophe. No, it's Easy Pass, Eduardo, but we just talked about it. Easy Pass still bills the account, my friend. So yeah, he spends almost $800 a month on the Easy Pass.
Yeah, it's crazy. Tolls are the most regressive. Like I said, people don't even think of them as taxes. I'm like, and for all these tax people, and they're like, well, the rich should pay their fair share and blah, blah, blah. That you ain't hurting the rich with tolls. You're hurting the poor. It's completely regressive. Completely regressive. Like if you have a lot of money and you're going over the Walt Whitman, $6, you don't give a shit. You're hurting the poor people who have to get over the bridge maybe to go to work. It's astonishing me that people can't recognize that. But I digress.
Yeah.
It pisses me off.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's so regressive and nobody knows it. Nobody knows it.
No doubt. All right, good stuff there, Johnny.
2330, by the way. Port Authority Hudson Tunnels. So the Holland and Lincoln.
How much is it?
2330.
Yeah, and then he's got a couple other tolls from where he comes from. It's like $30+ a day. I'm like, dude, that's freaking. I can't even.
Now they do have a little bit of a shift in a scale of rates. Off peak hours are cheaper than peak hours, which is different than down here. But it's absurd. It's absurd. Yeah, I hate using New Jersey Transit, but I just drive to Trenton if I have to go to New York and take the train up because it's absurd. And then you got to pay for parking in New York. I mean, it's absurd. Yeah. So anyway.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, I agree with Big Mike says J-Mac on his soapbox today for the average person. I like it, Big Mike. Good comment there, my friend.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like taking advantage. And the funny part to me is, Josh Shapiro wants to come back. Well, we can have this discussion. It's like, because you have these progressive politicians who think they're, you're doing the exact opposite of what you're trying to accomplish. It's like the soda tax in Philadelphia. That thing. Remember that thing? I think it still exists.
Yeah, the soda tax.
It's like,
who's that hurting, the rich or the poor? You tell me.
Oh my God, it's so obvious, and it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nobody cares.
All right, good stuff. We got Chris Franklin coming up in about 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to talking to Chris Franklin. Have we talked to him since the draft? We did. No, we didn't, did we? 2 weeks ago?
I don't think we have. So we can get into that with him. Yeah.
We got to see what he thinks.
One more thing. Sorry.
Yeah, go
ahead. Bridget, most states still don't even have tolls. It's like a Northeast thing and Midwest, Chicago, major cities. Most people don't have tolls. Now more and more are doing it, but for many years, like
there's even tolls all the way down at the South Jersey, the Shore Point, everywhere. There's tolls all over. Yeah.
New Jersey, come on. It's the People's Republic of New Jersey, but Yeah, the Northeast is absurd. That's why everybody's moving.
Yeah, well,
to Florida or Texas.
You got to pay for it, but there is some good parts about living in the Northeast. I think people get a little. I mean, like you're close to all the big metropolitan cities. The population, the dense. I guess what's the right word for it, but the how much wealth is in the Northeast is vastly more than many other areas of the country. I mean, specifically the South and stuff like that. So I get why people live here, but it is expensive as shit to live here.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, you have to live here to do certain things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, believe me, I get the text 3 times a week from my brother. How the fuck do I move out of this shithole state? I'm like, brother, I don't know. You built a business, you raised money, you did it all. You're kind of trapped until you're not, So it is what it is. But yeah, that's a part of it, no doubt about it. All right, John, good stuff here. Looking forward to talking to Chris Franklin too. Some good tangents here on a Football Friday. So I am looking forward to it. And I think obviously with all the things happening this offseason with the Birds, this is a much different offseason to me, at least in my opinion, than it's been the last couple of years, where you have so many different questions about what the team's going to look like, how they're going to use weapons, how they're going to use players, what kind of offense they're going to run. That I just think especially those first couple games, it's going to be like a nail biter. Like, what are they doing? How are they playing? How's Jalen Hurts look in the new system? How are they communicating? How does Sean Mannion look? Obviously, there's going to be heightened pressure on Sean Mannion at the start of the year. So I think it's an exciting offseason, though, J-Mac, and a lot of good, but also a lot of trepidation for Eagles fans, I think.
Yeah, I think more questions than normal, I think is fair. Certainly offensively more than defensively, but even defensively. I mean, there's a lot of people who think they're going to miss Nakobe a lot, and there's a lot of people who think they're going to miss Reed a lot. A lot of people think Jalen Phillips is better than Jonathan Grenard.
A
lot of things.
I think Grenard is better than Phillips. Do you?
I think he's a better pass rusher, and that's what they want.
Look, I like Jalen Phillips, and I really don't mean this with any disrespect to him. I was never trying to disrespect a player, but I think there's a little bit too much hype there. Like, he's a good player, but he's never really been as good of a player, I think, as people wanted him to be. I think he's got the potential, the size, he does everything right, but I don't know that he's ever done it on the field. I mean, why?
Well, I mean, I think it's basically what he got paid, and I don't blame the Eagles for tapping out on it.
Me neither.
Especially when you see the contingency, but they did get a little bit older, a little bit smaller. So I mean, there's ways, but I think Grenard's a better player, and I think he's still going to be at the level he was. So I think it'll work out, at least in the short term. I don't see many holes on this defense other than the obvious one, which is safety. Everything else looks locked in.
Yeah, but I think the secondary is better than they were a year ago, or at least on paper.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't expect that just from the natural. Like, how do you have a better season than Quinyon Mitchell had?
That's fair. Year. You're talking about the ebbs and flows of a player is not going to play their best year every year. Yeah. That's fair, but I mean, from a talent perspective, like, I think Woolen is a great addition. I'm not saying he's like a knockout ball, a home run corner, but is he an upgrade over Adoree Jackson? I think so. I think he's a pretty
sure. There's no question he's an upgrade over Adoree. It's going to be interesting. Some of the knocks on him as a player, the tackling, maybe not being as focused, are things that could become a problem with Vic. So there, you could see potential issues developing, but from a talent perspective, he's better. There's no question. Same thing with Nakobe. From just a pure talent perspective, Jahad Campbell's better than Nakobe Dean. But I'm not going to ignore the intangible aspect. Where Nakobe meant so much to this defense and Vic himself. I mean, that's real. So But
Jacoby's
from
one of my favorite players that has left the Eagles in recent years.
From a talent perspective, just if you talk about those two players, Jihad Campbell and McMullen, that's obscene to add what they've already had. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but
Right.
And then the offense, there's a shitload of questions on offense, starting with the health of the offensive line, obviously, but very little depth inside. That's a concern. I'm sure Howie will address it at some point, especially with Landon. What are the odds Landon Dickerson plays 17 games? So who would be the starter if Landon Dickerson had to miss a month? Forget about a year.
Who would it be right now?
Well,
it wouldn't be one of the guys they just drafted, would it?
It would either be Drew Kendall moving to left guard, or Micah Morris, a 6th-round pick, or
I don't know about Micah Morris.
Maybe if you want to move a Miles Hinton inside, maybe he could compete.
How are those guys developing the draft picks they took at the edge or the offensive lineman?
Who knows? I mean, they change coaches, they change schemes. We're going to see. I mean, right now, there's no evidence that they're, Holland Pierce is the one guy who was undrafted. They played a little bit of guard.
He was the Rutgers dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't, they could have done it behind the scenes once we're kicked out, but they didn't use Miles Hinton or Cameron Williams at all inside. You do have Willie Lampkin, who I should mention, because he's going to be a training camp star. But, I mean, the dude's 5'11" and like 280 pounds. So,
Reminds me of Ed Kratz. We got to try and get Ed Kratz on next week.
Well, Ed loves him.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Wrestling guy, right? He was a wet wrestler?
Yeah. So they don't have much depth on the interior. That's a concern. We talked ad nauseum about the receivers.
What does a successful season look like for Jalen Hurts this year? I mean, obviously, it feels like so much of this offense is going to hinge on him. He's the quarterback of the team, obviously. But I don't know. I feel like we've been a little doomer on it a little bit. Like, what does success look like? Like, if you're Mannion right now, all right, you got a vision. You have an idea about what you want to accomplish, given the players that, I'm sure he's watched a lot of film on Jalen Hurts and the offense. What does that look like, you think, for him?
No fucking idea.
Not often do I hear Tom McMullen say, I have no idea.
It's funny because the Eagles put out their all-access draft thing. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing yet.
So they showed little clips. They always show little clips of their passion meeting and their Red Star meeting. Red Star meeting before the draft, passion meeting before day 3 of the draft. So that's about the day 3 guys. So they drafted 2 of their Red Stars. And that's guys who fit everything from the Eagles from a culture standpoint to a off the field IQ. It doesn't necessarily mean top picks talent-wise. It just means all the other stuff, all the intangible stuff. But DeVonta was a Red Star. It could be a good player. Sidney Brown was a Red Star, a medium player. Just some recent examples. And they don't always say them because they don't get them. There's generally about 15, I've been told, Red Star players per draft cycle, generally. So they got 2. And there were Eli Stowers and Cole Payton, who I thought were interesting because they don't fit this fucking offense at all. What people project the offense to be, either of them, at all. I mean, at fucking all. And then their passion players, they got 2 of those. Uar was one. They had Clint Hurd up there. That was pretty funny. I forget the other one. I'll come up with it. But It's like, that's what I said about the draft. I'm like, what are they going to do? And they draft offensive linemen that seem better suited for Stout. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, they've been drafting offensive linemen like that for the better over a decade now, John.
Oh, Micah Morris was their other passing guy. So he was their other.
I like Micah Morris. I just, I don't. He's a 6th-round rookie. I mean, how much excitement can you get for it?
And that was Duke Tobin Jr., I believe, who was pounding the table for him. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing. So when you say what are they going to do offensively, I don't know. I don't know.
Is there a hybrid, John, that exists between what the scaled back offense would look like that you've talked about and what the dreamy the dreamy Hollywood offense would look like that I think some of us think that they might try and run, this perfect West Coast offense? Is there a hybrid? Is there an in-between? Put Jalen in an environment where he can thrive, change up the scheme enough to keep defenses on their toes. Is there a gray area? Is there a middle ground? Is there
there better be
this and shift it without, putting your best players in a bad position?
I would say there better be, because that's ultimately has to be what happens. I mean, to be honest, you could say Kellen proved it existed, but did he? Because that was just more of, historic running game. I mean, that's just, I don't think, if they could go back to that, they'd go back to that. But, when you were gone and I pushed back with your dad, and I'll push back with you here. The West Coast offense doesn't exist in its original form.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
I mean, even look at what McVay ran last year, wasn't it? It wasn't West Coast.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it ain't West Coast offense. I'll tell you that. So, I mean, I don't know what people are expecting, but if they're expecting Bill Walsh, I mean, that doesn't exist anymore. And it can exist because they don't have enough time to practice it, play it, and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you just want to say it's core principles, the timing based short stuff, the horizontal spacing, short play, short passes as an extension of running game. Those little things are, foundational principles of almost every modern offense, but nobody runs the West Coast offense. Nobody.
So we got to have a Mannion hybrid of it. Let's see what Mannion can do, baby. Built around Jalen Hurts. One super chat, and then we're getting to our boy Chris Franklin. Can't wait to talk to Chris. It's been a little bit. Here's Brandon Snyder. He says, Brandon, thanks for the super chat, brother. $10. We appreciate that. He says, two-part question. I don't know if you sent your part two. What is the percentage of chance you'd give Rabel being let go at some point? And if so, would that basically end any chance of Pats wanting Brown? Hurry up, June. I got you. I see the two parts.
Well, no to the second part. I mean, that I think that train has left the station and it's not coming back. Is there a possibility? I mean, TMZ's got 60 more slow drips. I guess it's possible. Generally, people try not to get involved with people's personal lives, I would say. But once it gets to a point and TMZ's involved and they're upset because they got lost, they got lapped by the New York Post. You can never say never. I would expect Mike to be coaching the Patriots, but either way, I think AJ's going to be out. So I think, but people can hope. I hope the Sixers win tonight. I'm probably going to be wrong, but people can hope.
By the way, for the Flyers fans out there, all right, that Carolina team, That is a good hockey team, John McMullen. That team is no joke, dude.
Yeah.
They just swarm. It almost felt like the Flyers could. I mean, they could barely move on that ice last night. The Canes were just everywhere. So, all right, good stuff, Brandon. Thank you for the super chat. Brando Shreds, I saw your super. We'll get to that after Chris Franklin and Devin. Appreciate all you guys for doing it. Let's go to our main man, Chris Franklin, set to join us right here on Birds 365. You can follow him at C Franklin News. Read all his work at nj.com. Chris, welcome to the program on a Football Friday. How you doing this morning, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on again. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Good to see you, buddy. I think you were in there. You heard that question, so I'll bandy it back to you. What do you think? Is there a chance Mike Vrabel and his exit could change the AJ Brown landscape? And there's some chance. By the way, would that make the McKine Lemon a bad pick if AJ's got to come back? So there's two parts to that.
I'll answer the second part and I'll go back to the first part. The second part is if he stays, I don't think that's not a bad pick at all. Because when you look at the way the Packers assembled themselves back for their offense, how many wide receivers they had,
Well,
how well they do it,
yeah.
and it gives versatility and it gives you another wide receiver for the future. That being said, even if I just don't think that it would change things at all, because at this point I think the New England Patriots are desperate because they look at the landscape. I mean, Stephon Diggs, I think that ship has sailed, and you can try to go back to that, but I don't foresee that happening on there as well too. And yeah, I still think if anything, I think that trade would still go down in there. But the Vrabel himself, there's going to be a point where the league is going to have a conversation. They said the whole thing before, like, this doesn't mess with the Shield. The whole affair thing didn't mess with the Shield. Alleged affair.
Gotta throw alleged in there.
Alleged.
Chris, I think your face you just made is how everybody feels about that.
It's true. It's just like, come on, just said it first time.
Well, now you were in the belly of the beast in Allentown. DeVonta had his celebrity softball. Did you stay over for AJ's camp the next day?
No, I went back home immediately. I did ask Christian Gonzalez about what he thought about it, and what happened was he said basically he wouldn't say what he kept it in house, but it was worth a shot. I was like, of course, like I asked him about what Vrabel tell you guys, and what do you think? How do you guys take it? He wouldn't tell what Vrabel said, but he did say that's his coach. So in that, and seeing what Gonzalez has said, basically seeing what Gonzalez said, what Drake May said yesterday, like he's backing it up a little bit. I think as long as they have the players having his back helps them out a bit, but is now you got to worry about the league, because if this continues, if there's another drip, then you start to worry about, and the league set the precedent themselves. You got to protect the Shield, and if the Shield keeps having, say there's something drops on schedule release night.
Chris, you talk about a slippery slope. I'll tell you what, allegedly, and I'll use that word, Mike Vrabel isn't the only one who's doing some things that are outside their marriages or significant others. They wish this one could be memory hold.
It's funny you mention that, because, and it says this is another alleged. If that alleged burner account was true, if that really was his burner account, and he said, and the person who said it was that and said they were going to go after everybody else, he's not the only one. Yeah, it's a slippery slope in that way. But in the same
who has time for fucking burner accounts? I can't even keep up with my own accounts. I don't understand these burner account people.
Brian Colangelo.
Yeah, Brian.
They need their own de facto PR to think, hey, I only have 2 followers. I need to get my thing out there. I need to just say, hey, I did get my take. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. It's you see it slip up. Don't slip up where you caught. That's it.
I don't know what the Eagles. I gotta ask that at some point. Maybe you've asked it, how they handle social media, because they have so many issues with it. Not their fault. You can't control personal accounts and guys, whether it's AJ on X or CJ on Twitch. You can't control that. But I wonder if they preach anything to the players, because man, if you're in the public eye, just get the hell away from social media, or if you have the means, hire somebody to do it for you, something. I mean, it's so toxic. Just get away from it. Coaches the same way. It's like, I mean, those guys get shit on. Coaches and quarterbacks, no matter what. So, I mean, if you're going to doom scroll, you're gonna have a pretty nasty disposition because you're going to read some terrible shit about yourself, basically.
And the whole thing of, oh, we don't read social media, stay off social media. Some guys, I will say, some guys do really adhere to it. But I've seen it in visitors' locker rooms, Eagles locker rooms. First thing they do as soon as they get
They grab the phone.
they start looking and scrolling and everything else. And we've seen instances where people replied in games and all that stuff too. It's these guys, and what they're teaching them is that they're personal brands and they're brand guys, and they want to protect the brand. Sometimes it's just ego, not just ego. Sometimes, like, you think about that, someone else called me out. It's a matter of just basically having the ways and to say, you know what, I can't mess up my money because I don't want to. A, I don't want to get fined. B, I don't want to like a brand of business. Like, oh, you saying this of this first fan or something like that. What are you gonna do with our brand or whatever? If you do it, so it's tough.
It is. Slay is another one. Slay would go back with fans about trying to explain coverages to them, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, what?
It's a losing battle, folks.
Yeah, but I guess it's easier said than done. If somebody does insult you, it's a natural, it's human nature to want to bounce back and clap back a little bit. So I get that part of it, but. Yeah. And I used to do that when I was started, and I'm like, what is this asshole? And now I just mute everybody, Chris Frank. I have so many muted people. It's astonishing.
Well, what does the mute even do? It just doesn't show you them anymore.
Just doesn't show you.
Yeah.
And to me, it's better than the block, because the block, they think they're getting to you. Oh, this guy blocked me.
Right.
If you mute them, you never see it. They have no fucking idea. They keep taking shots at you. I have no idea. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, right. It's like they're screaming into a void.
Yeah, exactly. They're screaming into a void.
I used to Family Guy Spider-Man thing. Everybody gets one. You can say, I know sometimes
that's people need to vent. I mean, that's my rule. You get one. If there's one thing, I'm like, all right.
Then I'll usually mute them. I'm just like, all right. Cause I try to go because people, I know some people are frustrated at times when they see something and you do your best report or say you put something out there. I mean, some people are just bleeps. And just want to do it just a troll. Right. And sometimes you see that too. I'm like, all right. Sometimes I laugh at them. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Over under 50 people in this chat right now that John McMullen has muted. I'm taking the over on that. No way to confirm. Chris, I got to ask you, I haven't talked to you since the NFL draft. What did you make of the Eagles draft haul? They get Mekhi Lemon, they get Eli Stowers. You talked about a lot of these guys leading up to the draft. What did you make of what the Eagles did in the NFL draft?
I like what they did because it was a mixture of guys you can plug in right now, guys of who you can actually project to see being serious contributors, especially the first two was with Stowers and went Lemon. And I think they got good trade stuff. I mean, Uwe Bernard. I know it's a 7th round pick and they're lottery picks. I just like the projection. I just like with a guy like Clint Hurt. I know the measure.
Did you see the all access thing with Clint?
I've seen part. I'm halfway through. I haven't gotten to Clint's part yet. I haven't gotten.
It's great because Clint's basically pounding the table for himself. He's basically, and I believe. I believe in me. I believe in the kid.
No,
he's pounding the table for himself. I love Clint. I love him.
He deserves it because look at what he's done so far with the way he's helped develop a lot of these the defensive linemen here. And
look at Morrow, really 7th round pick.
Yep.
But people because Chris, you were there. People forget it took Jordan a long time. Jordan Mailata, into his 3rd year. This is a multi-year process with Uwe Bernard. And hopefully, he's got the athletic ability to bring it home, but it's going to be a while, don't expect anything too quick, on that aspect of it. Were you surprised? I was surprised, and I don't know if you got to the red star part, but they got 2 red star players, Eli Stowers and Cole Payton. And I'm like, from what we've been told and what they're going to run, and Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, wide zone stretch, quarterback processing, blah, blah, blah. These are the 2 guys that don't fit that mindset. What did you think of the fit standpoint? I'm looking at Markel Bell. I'm looking at Micah Morrison. I'm like, those seem like Stoutland guys, big, physical. What did you think of the disconnect between that and the scheme they're expected to run?
I just looked at. I didn't think it was necessarily scheme because I think there's always wrinkles when it comes to scheme because there's always forks in the road when it comes to that. I looked at the positionally. I'll start with Stowers too. Positionally with Stowers, we've seen so many teams running this 2 and 3 tight end sets. Won't be surprised if one tries to throw a 4 tight end set or more. But I think it's just the way you can get teams out of certain personnel looks and then put the guessing there. And I like Stowers, the fact that he still needs to work on his blocking for sure. I think that's still something that's the knock I have on him a little bit. But I think when you get towards the red zone, when you get towards that play action pass, if you get that line fixed and it starts really working again, it looks like the run game you had in 2024, 2022. But before then, if you get that run game going, it becomes even better. So now you got Dallas Goedert, you got to worry about the pass game. And all of a sudden you got Stowers, who you're looking at, if possibly like in a base set, like against a linebacker or against a regular safety. I like that matchup a lot. And you see, that's why teams are going like the Rams and everybody else were using 3 tight ends, stuff, what have you. So I see the potential there. I just need him to focus on blocking a lot more. So I'm not worried about, because you can get away with some of that stuff. So I'm not worried so much about the disconnect when it comes to the players. Like if you have a good player, sometimes you can overmatch some of that other stuff when it comes to scheme. You basically create scheme. You're supposed to make the scheme around the players themselves. So I have no problem with that. When it comes to the Bell
I agree with.
I will say is the Bell pick I'm still kind of on. I like the trade. If anything, I know it is basically would come to, do you get a really good offensive lineman around the Lemon pick? I still think Lemon is way above a lot of the linemen that were there. And I still also look at the Stowers. I think at that point in the second round, you won't be able to get lineman. I think he has a chance to be. I'd try him more at guard. Try him more, and I see if he can do that. Ooh. Personally, I would try him at guard.
It's like that's like throwing over Joel Embiid for poor Jalen. He's got like a 7'3" wingspan.
Hey, he can move. He can move, but yeah, and also like it's a good thing. Like you see what he can develop into. I don't think he's going to be like a lane type guy. I just think it's more of a thing like, hey, I think he could turn out to be good on that one too. I don't know if he can be dominant like you see like Wayne, something like that. For that's the guy like I want a dominant line.
I'm gonna give a bold prediction. The next 10 drafts, any first round right tackle is not going to be Lane Johnson. Period. So I mean that you're not replacing Lane Johnson.
It's a pretty safe prediction there, I'd say, McMullen.
You're not replacing Lane Johnson, but can he be a good NFL? I think he could be a good NFL right tackle. I talk about Chris Cooper, coming over from Minnesota. Can he be Brian O'Neill? That's the goal. Forget about Lane Johnson. Can he be Brian O'Neill, who's a Delaware guy? And he's a very good right tackle. He's a very good right tackle. Can he develop him into that type of player? Yeah, maybe. I like the Bell pick. But there's certain guys, and I said the same thing about Mekhi Lemon. He might be a really good player, and I think he is going to be a really good player, but he's not going to be AJ Brown. Those guys are tough to replace, just player for player. But you can go about it a different way, and that's what I think the Eagles have to do offensively. You mentioned the Packers a little bit, and you're talking about spreading the football around. And they do, and they have a ton of receivers. Do you think Jalen can be that style of quarterback who just sprays the ball all over the field like Jordan Love does at times?
I think so, because a lot of things that And a lot of things in this offense, just the coverage will dictate where you go throw the ball, and more so than some of these other timing routes and what like other type of offenses where the looks and the reads are little bit different than what you see in this style of the Shanahan type of offense. I think he can do that. I think it's beneficial for him. I mean, we've seen, and I also heard you guys' conversation about the West Coast offense or what have you, and when you say that one too, there are West Coast elements in this offense a lot. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the West Coast offense, there's West Coast elements in there. And I think that's, if anything, I think that's going to help everything else more because more you're not relying on throwing to one guy. You're not relying on you're spreading when you spread the ball out a little bit more. You don't know where it's going at, where have you. You still have your one, your number one where you need if it's crunch time, you're going to Devontae. Straight goes through. You're going to Devontae no matter what. Everybody knows that. But when you spread the ball around this way too, from a front office standpoint, all right, we don't have to pay these guys as much because stats aren't there. They're really good, but the stats aren't there, so they like it. Then you look at the other way. Think of the early 2000s when Andy Reid was here and everything else. You look at how when they actually had wide receivers, and actually it was tough to go through. It spreads everybody out so much. So, and I also look at the fact that they have different wide receivers that can do different things well. Wicks, I think, it can be your X guy. He can be a little bit bigger, like shield somebody off if you need to get somebody on the sideline that way. You can do that. Devontae, we know what he can do in there. Lemon, can operate in the slot and run those runs. There's so many. When you spread the ball around, there's not like when you take it away and say, okay, we want to use these 2 or 3 guys. You basically say like, oh, we can't do this and I can't do that one now. All these receivers, and when you look at throw the tight ends in there as well too. They can do so much. It's just, I think it's a good way. It's a good thing for them, and I think it takes a lot of pressure off thinking you have to feed the ball to one or 2 or 3 receivers. I think it's beneficial in that.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. How do you think the projected change, and I think everybody defines that a little differently depending on who you talk to, but how do you think it fits with the run game, Saquon Barkley, and even the offensive linemen? I look at Landon Dickerson, for example, and I don't know that I see him as somebody who's not going to be a mauler type of offensive lineman. If you have this outside zone, this wider spread zone, or this wider spread offense, how do you think the run game looks this year? What do you think they changed to try and get that going then, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think you have to be a mauler per se. It's just a matter of choreographing at the same time. So it's like you're doing a dance, a well-timed dance, or like or whatever
Well, that's what I'm
you're doing.
saying. Landon's a mauler. Can he do the choreographed dance?
I think you do choreo, and it's not like the Eagles have run zone before. I know it's mostly inside zone. The Eagles run zone that, so I think they can get the time. I think he's still going the outside. With Landon, it's just a matter of can he stay healthy enough. I know, and it's not a matter of him not wanting to be out there. It's a matter of his knee and ankle and everything. He stays sustained it for the whole entire season. That's the only thing I think he's athletic enough to be able to do that. I think Jordan's athletic enough to do that, like all those guys are. So that's the one thing. I think they can still adapt to this type of thing. Because also, I think it was 2024. I think it's 2022. The Eagles had their most success running toward the outside more than to that left side of their offense. I think it's Pro Football Focus had it. 2024. That's what it was. They ran the running behind to the outside, to the left side with Jordan and with Landon. That's where they had their best average per carry. So I have no problem with that whatsoever in there. I'm more worried more about the right inside part because I know Steam's gotten better. He's gotten better in terms of that. I just want to make sure that I'm worried about the right side a little bit more than I am the left side. With Landon, there's no problem at all in that one too. And also, I'm not worried so much about Saquon as much. We're going on the outside. Tank, I like Tank on the inside. I like Tank just going off tackle and not so much on like the outside sweeps or anything. But one thing I know is going to be hammered by Jamal Singleton, by everybody. You got to be decisive. You can't just go 1-2. I'm still looking at, and then next thing you know, you got a 3-yard loss. It's going to be decisive. 1, 2, 3, plant foot. You see the whole plant foot and go. You can't. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if they keep looking at running back because behind Bigsby and Barkley, Shipley and I don't know.
Well, they brought in who'd they bring in?
Well, is it Elijah Mitchell? Was another
Elijah
try?
Mitchell and the kid who used to be in Chicago, Khalil Herbert, who's trying to come back. So you can see, yeah, they're trying to upgrade. It seems they're trying to upgrade over Will. We'll see if they can do it. But to me, I don't know. 41 negative runs last year from Saquon Barkley, which was second in the NFL. Only Ashton Genty had more. Obviously, rookie on a bad team. And there was, I call it a little Easter egg that Nick Sirianni threw in. This was before the scouting combine when he talked to us, and he said, I think everybody's hyper focused on the passing game with Sean Mannion. He's been brought in and Ryan Mahaffey as well to fix the running game as well. And Nick mentioned we saw so much junk in the running game, and I had all these negative runs, and people are, run blitzing, and they see Saquon offset, and they're like, let's go get him. And that's when they went under center and tried to adjust it and tried to go to more of this scheme. Now they got experts to bring in to run the scheme to handle the junk they see in the running game. That's what Nick said. When you think about outside zone stretch, you think patient runners. I always think the best I've ever seen, the most patient runner I've ever seen is Le'Veon Bell in his prime. But you think about Kenneth Walker in the Super Bowl, patient guys who let the blocking develop in that little stretch and cut back. Does that seem like Saquon Barkley or Hank Bigsby to you? I think Saquon gets in trouble when he's not hitting the hole. And Tank is he's just put in the ground, go. That's who he is. He's not. So again, fit comes into it. Is this going to have to be more of an adjustment for the running backs or more of an adjustment for Sean Mannion, who's going to have to figure out maybe inside zone, but not outside zone?
I think part of it when you look at last year, and I think it's gonna be better than last year because last year was just the run game was predictable because it always was. Okay, first down. What are they going to do? Run inside. What happened? They ran inside. Then second out, and when players start admitting they knew what the Eagles were doing, that's what happened on there. I look at the fact, and I think it's also the way the creativity and when they went on. I think the fact they are going under center more is the biggest thing because at least if you're not going under center, at least go pistol so that way you get the same look. They didn't do that. It basically was Saquon goes to the left. Oh wait, so it lines up to the left of Hurts. Okay, the run it's probably going to go to either the right or Hurts is keeping it. Just 50-50 easy that one, and then they cut down and you weren't effective. I think at least when you're under center, it at least keeps the defenses honest a little bit more, and I think Mannion's going to do a lot. You're going to see it a lot, and I think that's what's going to at least make everything a lot better. I think just a simple fact they're going to go under center a lot more and run this type of thing. It just keeps it a lot better because it won't be as bad as it was like the first half of the season where it's like this was a whole entire season. But it was really
and they did get better. They did get better, to be fair, when they went under center last year, and they should have. Like I said, more expertise at it, at guys who are more expert in running this particular style. But it is going to be interesting because I don't think it naturally plays to the strengths of the running backs. But we'll see. That's why it's going to make it so interesting.
And I also think for the love of all things holy and goodness, everything, I don't think we'll see as many shotgun 3rd and 2s. What? Stop running shotgun on 3rd and 2. You can do it once in a while. Once out of every 10, in my opinion, once out of every 10, you can do a shotgun if you want to try to spread them out and do the draw, what have you. But we knew that was spammed almost to a point.
Well, if you know what, if you have Jalen Hurts, if you can convince him, hey, you got to use your legs. I love empty sets and third and manageable. Like somebody put up a clip when the Eagles offense was still, it was never great, but when it was still above average, and it was, what they always do. So it was Saquon started in the backfield and then split out. So you had an empty set, and Jalen was in the gun, and it was like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. They ran 4 hitch routes to create spacing. And then the interior guys just said, all right, you want to go this way? You want to go this way? The pass rushers. And Jalen just ran for the first down. It was against the Cowboys. I mean, that's when they're humming. It's like 3rd and manageable. What do you do? If it's in that, if Jalen's got that mindset, just create the spacing and let him pick the hole. And you got a first down.
To me, it's a big tell. I'd actually do it in the reverse now. When you never see Saquon running on the line on the outside edge, he's not getting. I know you can say like, oh well, he's not going to lay there. You got to think now. He's not the best receiver, but at least you got to think a little bit more. Then you motion him back in. I think you can get a little bit more. You save your quarterback a little bit more too. It's not Jalen from 2021, 2022. He's in that range where he still uses legs, but I don't want him to use his legs now to overly get a lot of those first downs now.
Dare we say a Cole Payton package?
That's honestly, I see Cole Payton more in that than I do quarterback. But then you get to the whole thing of you put Tanner as you got to put 4 quarterbacks on the roster.
You'd have to trade Tanner McKee because he's not even going to be dressed, and B, I never liked that even with Taysom Hill because I'm like, you're taking Drew Brees out of it, and I don't care how unique and effective it can be. You're taking a Hall of Fame quarterback out of the equation. That doesn't make sense to me. Never makes sense to me.
And also the fact of the emergency quarterback. Something happens all of a sudden. Now, if you do trade Tanner, you make Cole Payton your number 2. He has to get hurt before you even throw in Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not yet. Nah. I'm holding off for that. I don't want to see
that. Not yet. He's Red Star player, though, Cole Payton. Red Star player.
Chris, last question for me. What moves should Howie make left? Like what holes on the roster do you think still need to be addressed? Or do you feel as if safety, you think so?
Safety. Oh yeah.
So you're not confident about that. I feel good about Epps. I'm not as on, I wouldn't be upset if they got a safety, but I don't feel like it's like, oh shit, we're screwed if we don't get a safety. Maybe I'm wrong.
I want depth. That's the main thing. I worry about if one is like right now, if you have Makuba, Epps starting, that's cool. The moment one of those guys get hurt,
you got Michael Carter. You got
Carter.
Cole Wisniewski.
The moment one of those guys get
the
hurt,
whiz kid, Cole Wisniewski.
I'll tell you what. Here's my question, because everybody goes to safety. I understand why you want the safety because that's obvious. If Landon Dickerson can't play, who's the next man up now with no Brett Toth inside on the interior?
you're looking at Fred. I'd probably throw Fred in there before I throw anybody else in there. Which is going to be like, oh, great.
I mean, it might be. Here's your options. I mean, I think Fred's too big. I don't think Fred can do it. Drew Kendall moving out to, left guard. Maybe he can do it. Micah Morris, who's a 6th-round pick. Or maybe you move a Miles Hinton. That is an underrated need, man, because you can't count on Landon Dickerson to play 17 games.
No. Good point. That is a good point. But I can see that. But I just look at the back. I just look at that back end. As much as we see teams throwing a little more, I look at that. Oh,
that's a concern. I'm not trying to say it's not a concern. That's you're right. They're like Zander's way higher on Epsy than I am. I don't want Marcus Epps as my starting safety. I don't. I love the guy, but he's not. He's had some serious knee issues. He's not the player he was when he was here the first time. I don't think that would work out well, and I don't think Howie's going to go into the season with Marcus Epps as a starting safety. I just don't. Like you might have to. He'll find someone. It might be in the season. Remember when CJ got here the first time? That was at the cut down. It's like they went through a whole training camp with Terrell Edmonds and those guys, and who's going to be the starting safety? CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yep, I think it'd be somebody after that second preseason game, a vet who doesn't want to go through the rigors of training camp, or who are familiar with somebody you can think, somebody who can cover on the inside, almost like a nickelback, and then I think it's gonna be a veteran guy who doesn't want to go through training camp. To be honest, right? Or they'll go through a whole entire process of training camp. Go, all right, I'm ready to sign. Tell me what the system is. I stayed in shape enough. I'm getting the game shape within the next week. I've been working on the side. That's the type of guy who I think they go after. And also, or maybe it's week 2. Maybe they don't want to pay the guy in a guaranteed contract because it doesn't work out. Make week 2 of the regular season. Those are two windows I can see happening. The Kenny Moore stuff, I think he gets an offer to start at corner somewhere. Somebody's going to offer him.
Yeah, Slade trying to create something there.
I like him. I like him. I just don't know if he's. I think somebody's going to give him an option to start somewhere else instead of just being a backup here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good stuff, Chris. Make sure everybody goes and follows Chris at C Franklin News. Read all his work at nj.com. Chris, it's always great talking to you, my friend. I can see you're still your cheery, happy self. We love getting you on the program, my friend. Thank you for doing it today. We'll talk to you again soon. All right, brother?
Hey, thanks, guys. Everybody have a good weekend now.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us right here. Love Chris Franklin. Great insight from Chris on the Eagles off season. Some good stuff there. Always good to get another perspective here post NFL draft. All right, Chris. I liked some of what Chris had to say, especially about the offense and some of the draft picks. I don't know about the optimism on Eli Stowers becoming a blocker, but we will see how that plays out.
Well, I think he could do it, but probably not this season. Down the road. I think he, as I've said, he's shown the willingness. He's got the frame. He needs to add some weight and get stronger. But I think he's good enough athlete to master the technique and all the fundamental stuff. But it's going to take some time. I don't think it's going to happen right away.
That's fair. Johnny Mac, last couple minutes of the week here, my friend. Here's Devin Shanahan. What's up, Devin? He says this: I still have faith in our Sixers. Got to get it done tonight. The Fly Guys, that Carolina team is scary. Devin, that's a good hockey team, dude. That Carolina team. They are so disciplined. I mean, they really have taken on the personality of Rod Brindamore. So here's Brando Shreds. Speaking of prices, thank you guys again for the Savvy Seats deal. We'll see you all at the Open. I tried telling everybody when we were doing that. That was the deal of the century. You won't go to a game for $100 to get in. You probably might never find that deal again. So, Brando, way to jump on it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody down there. That's going to be pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Sauce It Up says this: did we forget we have Johnny Wilson also?
I talk about Johnny all the time. One of the issues last year was he wasn't there because he was a big part of the plan as far as being I know people don't care about receivers as blockers, but that was a big part of their running game, at least, in packages. But number one, you got to see how healthy he is. He had a really significant leg injury. And B, they got a lot of bodies at wide receivers. So now you got to start talking about coming back from that kind of serious injury and also, making the team. You got to make the team.
Yeah.
And you start looking at
kind of a crowded room all of a sudden, Johnny.
Exactly.
AJ.
You have, and that's even, as we said, without we're operating with AJ's not going to be here. So you're talking about DeVonta Smith, Mekhi Lemon, Dontavian Wicks, Hollywood Brown. They're going to be here. Those four are going to be here. And you also have Elijah Moore. Do you need a punt returner? Then you need Britton Covey. Darius Cooper's still here. A lot of people like him. And then, Johnny Wilson's not guaranteed to make this roster because of not only the numbers, but the serious injuries coming back from.
Well, we'll see. You think Darius Cooper makes it?
Right now, no, if I was a betting man, but a lot of people were hyped up about him last year. And he's, it depends what flavor do you want? If you want the guy who can make some plays, you would want Darius Cooper over Johnny Wilson. If you just want the pure blocker, you would want Johnny Wilson. However, if you want the best combination, Cooper showed an innate ability to block, not nearly as good, but you would say Cooper's the more well-rounded option if it comes down to one or the other. And he's healthier. So
we'll see. Sauced it up. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. Appreciate everybody for the super chats. Brando Shreds, Brandon Snyder, Devin, Jason, and Sauce It Up. Thanks all you guys. Appreciate all the great support this week. Another great week of Birds 365 per usual. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on a football Friday. I do not believe we're in the time of the year where we will talk on the weekend. I think I'll see you on Monday, my friend. Your final thoughts on a football Friday.
Yeah, I would say just 2 words, go Sixers. Let's see if they can make a series of it. That's more than 2 words, but the go Sixers part, at home.
Is Embiid playing?
Nah, come on. You get 6 hours notice at best.
Doubt it, right?
I doubt it, but maybe OG Anunoby is not playing. He hurt his hamstring, so that he's been killing the Sixers. That would help them a little bit and maybe even things up somewhat. But they got to win this one, or it's they're in the Flyers shape, and which is on life support. So
yeah, life support, no doubt. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. I will catch up with you on Monday morning. Thank you, my friend.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, J Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. Great show today. I want to thank everybody for all the great support this week, for tuning in, for listening, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, and for making the show possible. We appreciate all of you guys for doing it. Thought we had a pretty good week of content. We are kind of moving into the time of the off season where, there is some redundancy because it's the same questions that are permeating. There's nothing changing. You got the draft done. You've gotten most of your player acquisitions done. There will be some potentially here and there. Probably won't come till after June at this point. But we're kind of in that period of the offseason, the lower period that kind of runs through until they get to OTAs and then until they get to training camp. But for the most part, I think the Eagles are in a pretty good spot. I mean, I think the roster's solid right now. I'm not as concerned on safety as some. I'm not saying it's a strength. But what I'm saying is Adoree Jackson wasn't really a strength either. But the secondary was fine, right? They had Cooper, Quinion, safety. Like, I feel like with Quinion and Coop and even the addition of Tariq Woolen, I'm not like overly concerned about oh, shit, what are we going to do at strong safety? Is it perfect? No. Is it going to be the downfall of the Philadelphia Eagles? There's no freaking way I'm buying that. No way I'm buying that. So I think they're in a pretty good spot, pretty good shape, especially on defense. I mean, they got a great D line. You got those three tackles. You have, the edge rushers now looking good with the addition of Grenard. You got Campbell and Bourne, obviously, as your backers. You got, great 5 secondary, or at least I think a great 3 secondary players, with 2 players with upside, or at least 1 player with upside, and Andrew Makuba, and kind of a steady Eddie with Marcus Epps. So I'm not as like, oh shit, we got to go and get a safety or we're cooked. Doesn't feel like that to me. And then you go to the offensive side of the ball. To me, I think John's onto something with that depth in the offensive line. I mean, if you're going to address anything right now, address that, because Miles Hinton, Cam Williams, Micah Morris, Markel Bell, these are all guys we have no idea. We have no idea. So, I would look for some proven offensive line depth. And if you can get that, I think you're feeling pretty good about the year. The year is going to be what it's going to be. I think Howie's done basically everything he can to keep the roster in good shape with life after AJ. Keep your team in a position to contend and compete for Super Bowls and championships. And, now it's just going out on the field and translating it to the turf. You got to play well. Just great players aren't enough. Just good coaches aren't enough. Just good quarterbacks aren't enough. Just good offensive lines aren't enough. It's all got to come together. The team has to buy in, compete, and I'm excited to see how it goes. So I'll go to you guys. What are some of the things that are top of mind for you guys here as we get ready to move into the dead time of the offseason? I see some of you guys talking about Kenny Moore. I don't know. I mean, they've invested a lot already in the corner position. So I guess your projection would be Kenny Moore to the slot, Cooper DeJean to safety. I would put that as a big doubt it, but I get where you're coming from. The Feds just dropped the UFO files. Man, Hogan, I couldn't. It would be almost impossible for me to care less. That's how little I care. I do not care at all. I don't give a fuck about UFOs or what the hell is out there. Does that change my life? No. I don't give a rat's ass. It's like the people in love with the Epstein files. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I get it. It's a big deal. But like, bro, you guys too caught up in these damn Epstein files. Like I said yesterday, get your house in order. They're worried about the Epstein files more than they're worried about their own life. I don't know. I can't subscribe to that. So I'm not worried about it. You think J-Mac is a Fed? No, I don't. Top of mind, is this Z time long enough for a dump? Fleming, you never know, man. If you get me on a tangent about something, it could be. It could be. I do have some shit I got to get done. And I do want to promote one thing on Zander time today. All right. We don't do much promotion, but I will promote something that we're going to be doing here on JAKIB. A small piece of content that we are adding to the daily pipeline. It's not a live show, and it's not a 2-hour sit and binge like Birds 365 or the National Football Show are, but we are launching an Eagles Daily show with Krause. So he did Birds 365 last week. I thought he did a great job. And he's like, dude, I'd like to talk Eagles every day. I'm like, let's get a show done. Let's figure something out. So he's going to do a recording each day, and it will be posted same day within probably an hour or two of his recording. So we're going to post that up probably 12, maybe 1 o'clock on the channel every single day, Eagles Daily. And it could be, the thing I like about it is we more go into, the daily news and the roster and some of those things. Like, the thing I love about my pops is sometimes he'll be thinking about shit that I don't know where it came from or where his thought process is, but it's good to get another person who has just a completely different perspective. Like most of my conversations with my dad revolve around business and stuff. So I like to hear what he has to say about football. So he'll do that. It'll probably be like a 15-minute recording, 15-minute show, and he will post that on the channel every single day. So tune in for that. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your guys' responses to it. And don't forget to like it, engage with it, comment on it, and I'm sure he will read some of those comments as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and definitely keep your eye out for that on the channel. All right. Dylan, you seem to be in a whiner mood. You can have a job and think about billionaire pedophiles. But Dylan, is your house in order? Probably not. You're fucking whining in my YouTube chat. It's a slow time right now, Z, waiting for June 2nd. Yeah, I'm with you. It's never too slow. I mean, look, there's always some tough to talk about. The one beautiful part about football is, do you ever stop really thinking about it in a way? I mean, when you're an Eagle fan, it's kind of, all in. You're all in, You're going to let Krause. Yeah, his Kango game is crazy good. Fleming, once my hair goes, my Kango game's going to go crazy again too. I tell you what, though, Fleming, keep your eyes peeled because not to chirp him because he's got 300 of them. He dips into my stash quite a bit. J-Mac has been on fire. I agreed. Yeah, at least I'm making money to do it, Dylan. You're the one typing in a chat. Back to obscurity and irrelevance you go. Dummy. Zach says Epstein files prove everything is gay and fake and satanic. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Go bald, Z. Damn, is the hair looking that bad? I don't think the hair looks too bad, does it? You guys tell me. I don't think it looks too bad. I got to wear it for the wedding, so it is what it is. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't think about it much. Big Z, tell me you and Sills didn't say Bird was a better player. I didn't. I don't think I ever said that. All right. I don't think I ever said that. Melvin, what's up, dude? Appreciate it. You the man. Go Birds. Go Birds, man. The hair actually looks decent. Thanks, dude. Eduardo, it's like the tale of two. That hairline is scary, bro. Eduardo, fuck off. Go to the corner with Dylan. You and Dylan in the corner. You and Dylan in the corner. Oh, Dylan's going to educate me on how YouTube works. Dylan, when you earn 7 figures from YouTube AdSense, you can come in and tell me. Until then, sit down, shut the fuck up. All right? John Mutant, yeah, John mutes it. John's got a lot of mutes. No minoxidil, no thank you. I'm pretty sure that kills your testosterone. Fredo says Zander. What up, Fredo? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Z is like back to broccoli status. Well, we'll see. Michael says, this is a good one. You and Sills' convo yesterday around Carter, Q, and Coop was interesting. If Carter comes in the same this year, I'd prioritize Q and Coop, then extend Morrow. Cheaper option. I think it's a fair point. I mean, the problem with that, Michael, is when you have a player as talented as Jalen Carter, it's extremely hard to let him go. Now, you're right. I mean, do you look at it like $36 million to Carter? Is that the right move if you can get a Jomo at 20 or 21 or $22 million? You know, I understand at the very least thinking about it, but you know, Michael, I've always thought professional sports, and to a lesser degree in football because it's a team game, but professional sports are a game driven by superstar talent and superstars. And if you don't have the players to get you there, you know, I don't know. That's my thought on Carter. It's like, what that's like what you look for. That's like what you dream of, you know, a player as talented as Jalen Carter. Now, did he live up to it last year? No. And I understand the concern and the trepidation with that, but I don't know, dude. Like, I don't want to let that guy go. I don't. Now, it is a complex thing. I mean, guys, is Carter, Q, Coop, and Jalix Hunt, are they all going to get paid next year? That's a freaking lot of money on defense. All of a sudden, this AJ Brown thing, I said it on Silly, I've said it a couple times. You know, shit, man, take the drama out of it. Might not matter what AJ Brown wants. He might have needed to go anyway. So, Fredo, thanks for becoming a member, brother. Appreciate you for re-upping. If Carter isn't crazy good with Grenard next to him, let him go. Yeah, Mort, I think that's fair. He's got to get back to Carter dominance. I will say that. I mean, 24, he was a machine, you know. So, Steph Show, what's up, man? Good to see you, yo Z. I agree. Stout is bitter, kind of coming off like that to me too. But tell me why he didn't have someone better than a 50 or 60% Landon and Cam. These are professional backups, not your backup at Temple or Nova. He didn't do shit. Well, are you saying that Howie didn't do a good job at giving him the players? Is that what you're saying here? Tell me why he didn't have someone better than a 50 or 60%. Yeah, I mean, dude, there's just not that many good offensive linemen, Steph. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but dude, look around the league. I mean, there's teams around the league whose starters aren't as good as our backups in some cases. I mean, the New York Football Giants have been trying to build an offensive line for 2 decades. You know? See, Gary, I don't really agree with this. He says it's kind of true. Stout was touted as the guy who can make anyone ready. But Gary, no, that's not what he was touted as, and that's not what I ever saw him as. I mean, Gary, why does Andre Dillard then not have a job? Because the player is, to John's point, the player is always going to be more important than the coach. Now, a great coach can make a great player better. But you're not going to fix perfect. You're not going to fix a player that's not capable to play in the big leagues. Maybe Stout wasn't who he thought he was, and we just hit on players. Well, I think it's both, dude. I think you hit on players, and then Stout brings and gets the most out of them. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I get the point of, like, all right, is it more players than Stout then? I don't think Jordan Mailata becomes Jordan Mailata without Stout. I don't. Maybe he would. No, if he's his guru, he should have someone ready to go. Well, that's fair, Step. I mean, I don't think it's far off. It's kind of what Gary's saying too. But dude, if you're given a bunch of scrubs, you know, Gary, I'll use a NASCAR reference. Like, dude, if your car sucks, like, I don't care who you have driving. You know, I don't care who's in your pit crew. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're lining up against Lamborghinis and Ferraris on the other side. Tough to do. So this is a good question. If Uar Bernard becomes elite, will we look at Hurt as I think Hurt's going to be the defensive coordinator in no time. I think when Vic Fangio leaves, I think Clint Hurt is in. We'll see. But remember, they did give him like that pseudo promotion this year, made him assistant to the head coach. Those are promotions you give to somebody that you want to keep in the building. You know? I mean, Christian Parker, for as good as he was or as much as they talked about him, he never got that. At least I don't think. I'd have to go and look. Christian Parker, job title, Eagles. Yeah, well, I guess did they up him to passing game or no? He was the D-backs coach in Denver from 21 to 23. Yeah, no, I mean, he was only here for 2 seasons, so. Yeah, but if you're a 20th place car and an elite driver, that's fair. That's fair. So you're saying you think he could have been better? The Stout slander is ridiculous. Every lineman is credited Stout for elevating their game. Look, go Birds. I happen to agree. I'm not going to sit here and say Jeff Stoutland's not a great coach, but to Step Show's original comment, he's definitely come off bitter. I mean, dude, he left the organization after 13 years here, and it was like less than 3 weeks, and he's on like podcast and he's like talking about last year, what the problems are. I'm like, all right, dude, like, I personally don't think that's a good look. That's just my perspective. You don't have to agree. I didn't think it was a great look, but that to me has nothing to do with his ability as a coach. Zander, they're thinking the Eagles at the 49ers for the Mexico home game. Am I going? No. No. Am I going to Mexico for an Eagles game? No, thank you. I think Juan Castillo could have developed. I went to high school with Andres Castillo, the son of Juan Castillo, at the time when Juan was the coach of Philly. Andres was a cool dude, actually. He was a cool dude. He transferred, obviously, when his dad left, though. Yeah, 2020, Jason, that was a catastrophe, the O-lineman that year. Gary says, I think Stout was the best coach we could have had for the players we had, but Mailata isn't Mailata. We know if he's not Mailata, you know? Yeah, that's a tongue twister, but I get what you're saying, actually. Steph says he quit developing players after Mailata. He basically said that's my last project. I don't recall him saying that. You'd have to point me to it. It's got to be tough when you devote so many years to a company and get ousted like that. I agree, Daz. That's a very fair point. It's a very fair point. Kind of treated him like dirt on the bottom of the shoe, I guess. Mr. Sparks says, Why couldn't we retain Christian Parker? A lot of buzz going on. Well, Mr. Sparks, maybe that tells you what you need to know. They gave Clint Hurt a promotion to make him the assistant head coach and also the defensive line coach. And that to me is, hey, Clint, stick around. Here's a promotion and a raise. Let's be real. It's about money, guys. I mean, yeah, nothing worse than the promotion that comes with no more money. It's like, did you really promote me? No. Oh, thanks for the title, I guess. Does the title pay my bills? Does the title pay my tolls as a nod to today's show? No. So they gave it to Clint Hurt. I think that shows you what they think. They like Clint Hurt. I like Clint Hurt as long as he doesn't undermine Nick again. What are you referring to? Gary says, if we didn't have Coop and Q, we'd probably keep CP. I guess because you're saying they developed so well and so fast that CP gets the job. Maybe. That's fair. Those two dudes are probably the most important. Like, I think those are the two guys you got to keep on defense. Maybe more than Carter, guys. I don't know. You tell me. Who's the top two to keep? Carter, Quinion, Coop. If you could only keep two. Now, maybe they'll keep all three, but let's just play the hypothetical. If you could only keep two, who would you keep? Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter. Who would you keep? Me too, Eduardo. Right now, I'm on Q and Coop. I'm not letting Q. There's 0% chance I'm letting Quinion Mitchell leave the building. And there's 0% chance I'm letting Cooper DeJean leave the building. I mean, Carter's coming off the down year. He's going to be the most expensive probably. He's got the more injury concerns. I mean, Cooper and Quinion, they've been left the field, dude. I mean, Cooper and Quinion have had as good of a first 2 years in the NFL as humanly possible. If you envisioned on draft day and you said to me, what is the best case scenario for Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean? I don't think you could explain it better than they had their first 2 seasons. They both have amazing rookie years that leads to a Super Bowl for the team and a lockdown defense. And then the second year, not only do they have a sophomore slump, they both get all pro. You can't draw it up. I mean, you literally can't draw it up better than that. You can't draw it up better than that for Quinion and Coop. So I'm not letting those dudes go. Well, Gary, I mean, it's a fair question, but dude, you got to go off of what we've seen. I can't just remove 25 JC from my head. If I sit here and say 24 JC, what does that mean? That I just acted like 25 didn't exist and that 24 JC is going to return? I mean, you got to be in wait and see mode. That to John's point, this is probably why the contract extension is not coming. Prince, to be clear, I do think we can keep all three. I was just saying for the exercise because, Prince, remember, are you going to pay Jalix Hunt next year? Prince, are you thinking that they're going to pay everybody that they want? Because that would be Quinion, Coop, Carter, either Hunt or Nolan, one or the other. I guess Spawn could be let go. Saquon probably let go. AJ off the books. Lane off the books. Yeah, you're getting money back. I think we'll keep all three too. Just to be clear on the segment, it was more of an exercise just in, how the Eagles might be viewing it. Because, guys, remember, they aren't looking at it as like, we can all say they're going to keep all three. They are considering all the options, though. That's what every team does. That's what every GM is going to do. So I'm just saying, like, if you're Howie right now and you're doing that exercise, or if Carter doesn't have a great year, who's the expendable player right now? It's probably Carter. Especially, the other complicated factor is if you lose Quinion or Coop, there's nobody to replace him. If you lose Carter, I'm not saying that Jomo is Carter, but you do have a solid defensive tackle that you can keep. Prince says the offense won't be expensive anymore. Well, I don't know. I mean, Mailata's not getting cheaper. Jalen Hurts isn't getting cheaper. I guess Landon could be gone in a year or two. Juergens isn't getting cheaper. Smitty's not getting cheaper. Goddard will be gone. AJ will be gone. Lane will be gone. So that's good. That's good money. You're right. I mean, that's 50, 60 million bucks. Yeah, I'm not letting Cooper or Quinion go. There's no way. I am starting to gain a little bit more confidence on Jalen Hurts' role in this offense, and it doesn't really have to do with me thinking that he's going to become a player he's never been. It's more about how do you define what a good coach is, right? Like, let's run through this for a second. How do you define what a good coach is? Is a good coach somebody who has a good scheme? Is a good coach somebody who knows how to teach a scheme? Is a good coach somebody who knows how to accentuate the talents of their players? To your point about, Stout. It feels to me like I think Mannion's going to come in here and say, I got 5 years of Jalen Hurts tape to look at and work with. How do I get him to play his best? If he plays his best, this whole offense clicks. Build it around that. Don't force him into a scheme. Rich says, Z, what are you doing this weekend? Actually, it's Mother's Day. It's my birthday this weekend. Yeah, it's my birthday this weekend. I was born on Mother's Day. My birthday falls on Mother's Day this year. Yeah, it's like every 4 or 5 years, my birthday falls on Mother's Day. So my birthday is Mother's Day this year. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm hanging out with my fiance and probably eating a fat steak, relaxing, getting some work done. Probably recording a video for ZK's Garage, a couple videos. And then I'm probably going to my aunt's for Mother's Day. Well, she'll probably have everybody over. That's it. Just chilling, working, getting things in order, Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All good, though. I don't need the birthday wishes. There's plenty of Shanahan scheme that can be a dad. I agree, Gary. That's kind of where I am. I'm like, it almost feels like when we talk about this, it's like there's like one box to put Jalen in. And I'm just like, that to me doesn't that doesn't even feel likely. It's like, all right, take from the Shanahan scheme or whatever it is, McVay, whoever you like, take what works or what will fit with our personnel, put it in there, and build, take the other parts of what we've done well and build that out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying when you really zoom out, it's like, all right, is Sean Mannion going to try and do something that just makes 0 sense? No, probably not. So I feel good. I think Jalen's going to have a good year. Look, he's got to have a good year. So Preston says, holy shit, Z, my mom was born on Mother's Day. I was born on Mother's Day. Yeah, I was born on Mother's Day. My mom always says to me, the best Mother's Day gift ever, right? Her birthday is the 11th, also her anniversary, 3-1. Damn, that's lit. That's lit. Happy birthday to your mom, man. That'll be Monday, I think her birthday is. So happy birthday to your mama. And happy Mother's Day to her, too. Jeff Bowe with the $5 check. He says, get you a whole bag of Skittles this time. LOL. Happy birthday, Big Z. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Jeff Bone, I love you, brother. You're the man. You're the man, Bonehead. Prince says, we are too focused. I agree, Prince. Prince, for the most time, I agree with what you got to say. Sometimes we disagree because you go full stunad. But for the most time, Prince, I think we're pretty in lockstep on the thought processes. Rich, what's up, Rich? Every time he got a middle of the field pass, he dropped to avoid getting hit. I don't know who you're talking about there. May 11th, Roseman. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday, my man. It's one thing for your birthday to fall on Mother's Day. It's another thing to be born on Mother's Day. What am I turning? I'm turning 28, man. Holy shit, I'm a fucking old head. Can you believe it? I'm a couple years out from 30 years old. Man, I'm getting old quick. You know what I was thinking about yesterday? Kind of a random thought, but I was thinking about yesterday. I've always been like, I have like a weird fear of death. Not fear, like I don't like, I'm not afraid of death, but I've always said, man, I don't want to die. And why do I think that? And I love fucking life. I love living life, man. I love to be alive, literally. What a blessing it is to be alive. To be alive, to live, to breathe, to talk, to enjoy everything. I love life. I know, you know what I mean? Obviously, life ends for us all. We're all going to perish, folks. Every single one of them we're going to perish. But yeah, I always beat myself up about that because I'm just like, I got faith. I got great faith. I'm a Christian. I have a great belief in a higher power in God and Jesus and all those things. But you still have to grapple with like, all right, I'm going to die. So it's like you should. Your faith would tell you to not fear that, and to be steadfast and to not. But the inevitable human part of me is just like, yeah, I don't want to fucking die, I don't know. Kind of a random thought, but I was thinking about that yesterday. Just like how much I genuinely love to be alive, how much I genuinely love to try and pursue the endeavors that are in front of me. And, even the tribulations, even the hard parts, and, I think that's part of what makes the good parts good, right? Is that you have bad parts too. So, but yeah, I hope everybody listening loves life as much as I do. And if you don't, that's all right too. I understand there are hard parts of life and not everybody is dealt the same hand in life, but I think there's a lot of beauty no matter what you are, no matter how rich or poor you are, no matter how, what hand you were dealt is. I think there's a lot of beauty in life and attacking the things out in front of us. So hopefully the good Lord blesses me with a long, abundant life, although it's been abundant, and I'm grateful for everything I got. My dad used to say something to me, and I understand it more now than ever. He used to say, Zander, I would be remiss to ask the Lord for anything else. That's how blessed I feel as though I am. And a lot of that for him comes from his family. He's got a great family. He's got 5 kids. We all love our father and our mother. So, but I resonate with that now. He said, I'm forbidden to ask the Lord for anything more, and I think that's a good perspective, man. I love living life until I see the Eagles offense. Woo! Lemon, that's classic. Man. I love life, and then I turn on the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, shit. That was way funnier than it had any right to be. Oh, man. Jerry says, how old? 28. I'll be 28 on Sunday. I'm the same way. Me too, Prince. Sometimes you teeter with death a little too close, brother. Oh, that's funny. Texas T, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Or not, man. I love you. You're a girl, but the same concept. I call everybody man. My girl bitches to me about that. She's like, I'm not your dude. I'm like, come on, dude. She's like, I'm not your dude or your bro. I'm like, shut up. I call you what I got to call you. I'm with you, Fly Goes Fly. I'm too blessed to be stressed. There you go. Brando Shreds, what's up, man? Got to be great when Jesus tells us all the behind-the-scenes drama with Hurts and AJ and Wentz, and we never got to find out while we were living. Maybe we won't care at that. I don't think we will. At least I won't care. All right? I don't think I will. Jeff Bone, I went from being homeless to getting a house. Life is life. Bone, God bless you, brother. Keep grinding, man. I love following Bonehead on Instagram. Keith, that's a good slogan there. You're more than your flesh, bro. It's a good point, man. Make sure you get a life policy. I have a life policy. And if I pass, my fiance is getting rich. If I pass, my fiance is getting rich. In fact, she's getting so rich, she might consider taking me out. I'm just kidding. She would never. She would never. I'm just saying. Yeah, I got life insurance, man. No worries. Jerry says, happy birthday, brother. I love life. Can't be broken. Jerry, man, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the big super chat. $28, I assume, for what I'm turning. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, man. Jerry's one of our best. You know, Jerry's a great example, too. Jerry, I hope you don't mind me talking about your story, but I've seen Jerry talk about this. I've mentioned it with him on the show before. Jerry's a double amputee, and he's a guy who makes the most out of life. And I have a ton of respect for people like that because I sit here and tell you how much I love life and, you know, how blessed I am. And you can just see, you know, not everybody is dealt a fair hand. Not everybody is dealt the same hand. Some people have it harder than others. And then you look at a guy like Jerry, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to complain about my problems? You know, and Jerry's out here making the most out of life, you know, as a double amputee. It's fucking sick. I have so much respect for people like that. Honestly, people like that ground me and they give me such a great perspective. It's like, dude, what are you bitching about? Bitching about a bill? You're bitching about money? You're bitching about, you know? It's like life is good. God bless you, Jerry. Thank you for the super chat, my man. Abe, what's up, dude? Happy birthday to the GOAT. Abe, thank you, my man. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. D. Cruz is crying about dumb shit. God bless you, Jerry. Z, you ever been to Pigeon Forge? I don't think so. Where is that? Out in like more west in PA, I think. Pigeon Forge. Have I ever been to Pigeon Forge? No, I've never been there. That's Tennessee. That was by that's by where I was this summer. Or whenever it was. What was that, March? April? No, February? I've been to, I don't know, is this the town? Yeah, I've been to Pigeon Forge. Yeah, I have. Sorry. I have. Yeah, it's near Gatlinburg. That's right. I was there. I appreciate all you guys for giving super chats for the birthday, man. It means a lot. You guys are great. It's good. It's really I am really grateful for you know, JAKIB and for what I got with all the people here. And you know, I built genuinely some good relationships. You know, me and Tony's in the chat right now. I talk to Tony all the time. My boy Gary, we go back and forth. I mean, Gary and I have met in person. Gary, you know, sent me out to a NASCAR event last year. You know, that's what life's about, you know. So I am genuinely grateful for this channel and for what I do and for having all you guys with me. I do appreciate it, man. It's never, at least I try to, but it's never lost on me. At least I try not to let it get lost on me. So thank you. Send it in, BGG. I'll read it up. Tony, I don't know what you mean. Not yet, dude. They didn't even release a schedule yet, so it's hard to make any assumptions or plans around a game that is right now. It's funny. It's funny money. You know, it's not, the game's not there. But we've already confirmed the tickets and everything like that. So everybody's good. If you paid, you got a ticket. We've already talked to Savvy Seats about that. In fact, I was trying to get a couple more tickets for when we get a little closer. Maybe I can do a promotion or a giveaway of some sorts. But no, like direct updates yet. Other than that, I know it's going to happen. And I think we looked into some hotels, but again, we don't know the date yet. You know, is week 1 home opener? Is week 2 home opener? You know what I mean? Like, we have to figure all that out. So we don't know yet until the schedule. Anyone else have any? I just saw that. Is he going to miss the year? Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, or however you pronounce his name. So we'll see. Good stuff. Rich, good to see you, my man. I appreciate you being here, brother. It's good to have you back in here a little bit. You ever watch Scrap Life League? Check him out if you love. Oh, hell yeah. I'm deep right now. I'm deep in the weeds right now, folks. I'm deep in the weeds. I think I'm going to do the Factory 5 Cobra build. I really want to do it. I think it'll unlock so many things in my life, open so many doors, take it to car shows, build it out, document it all on the channel. I was talking to my uncle. He's built 2 of them already. I think that's going to be freaking sick. So I'm fully in. You guys want to see? I used ChatGPT to make a little mock-up of, I haven't decided, I'm not going to decide on the color for a long time until I'm well deep into that build. But take a look at this. I'm matching, I might match the ZK's Garage color scheme and go with black and gold. The black and gold. See, it's AI, so you can see that they messed up the headrest a little bit, but black with gold with that chrome exhaust pipe, silver wheels. The Factory 5 Cobra, baby. Put a big block 427 in that bitch. Come on, man. That'd be sick. That's kind of what might be my next passion project. And that would be like a big investment in my ZK's Garage channel, obviously. Terrence, what's up, my man? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Bird Gang Girl says, happy birthday, Z. Can't believe my daughter's only 4 years younger than you. LOL, her birthday's the 14th. Happy birthday to your daughter, Bird Gang Girl. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. That's what you put. Dude, that's old school. That's Cobra, man. That's one of the most iconic cars ever made, literally. It's also like a death machine. Speaking of death earlier, yeah, you got to be careful on that thing. No, they're sick, though. They're sick. I'm really more intrigued by actually, like, how many times have I told you guys, one of the things I dislike about what I do is that I sit in my fucking computer all day. And I love talking on air, but I got to use my hands, you know? So I'm so intrigued by just like that I can build it, you know, build it from scratch, get the motor, everything. My uncle's built multiple of them. So he's like, I'll come up and help you. It's going to be sick. My brother wants to do one too. So I feel like it'd be an awesome life memory to do with my brother. Happy birthday, dickhead. Respect. Afraid that's funny as shit. Stan, I'm getting one raised. Don't worry. You know, real quick, I saw this. I saw this the other day, and I wanted to mention this. And it kind of goes into more of like a life philosophy thing, not like Eagles. But a good way to gauge this is sometimes I think we all make our problems in our own head as, you know, big because it's our life, right? I mean, we don't think about everybody else's problems. We think about our own problems. That's just the natural inclination we have as human beings. But think about if you could put your problem onto, let's call it like a raffle or something where you pull things out, you know, and you write your problems on a piece of paper and you put them in the hat. And then you put everybody else in the world's problems in that hat. And now you got to take a pick. Would you sign up for that? Like, would you sign up to put your problems in that hat and risk pulling out what you're all fully understanding of what you could pull? If you put all the people, all the individuals of the world and put all their problems in a hat, would you sign up for that raffle? I'd say 99% of people wouldn't. Hell no, right? Hell no. Because you know what goes on out there. But it's just a way to kind of ground yourself of like, hey, my problems are bad, but, you know, it can always be worse, you know? Fredo says, I mess with you, Zander. I haven't turned against you like the others that hate JAKIB. I don't give a fuck who hates JAKIB. Give a fuck. Not doing it. Me neither, Terrence. Me neither, brother. Keith, what's up, man? Happy birthday, broski. Thank God we have you for another year. Praying for many more. Keith, thank you, bro. God bless you, man. Thank you, man. Keith, you're one of the best. I love talking to you. I love chatting with you. I love having you in the chat every day. Thank you, dude. Steph says, I just finished most of my 392 build, and now I'm looking at a Gen 3 Coyote 5.0 to make 800. Ooh, man. Steph, what'd you build? What are you going to put your Coyote in? Are you doing Gen 3 Mustang, or are you doing like an older Mustang with a Coyote swap, or what are you thinking there? I'm interested in this. I assume you built, what, a Charger or a Challenger in the 392? So what's the Coyote you're doing? What body? S550, S650? No, right? Not necessarily. That would be that would be Gen 4. So what are you doing? S197? I love the S197s. I mean, hopefully he's still here, because I'd like to hear that. Hurts says, no, we were born in America to like you. I know, no, Hurts. Believe me, you don't got to tell me. It's the old, if everybody's problems were put into a pile, you would take your own problems out. So true, Rich. So true, man. That, yeah, 392, I believe, is the Scat Pack. I did the Hellcats in Arizona. I'm telling you, I was I shopping Hellcats? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Was I, guys? Oh, I meant to show you this too. The actual car. So they gave us six Hellcats. It was 6 of us there. Obviously the one I chose was the green one. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There's a purple one. There's the green. I got the green one. I'm wearing the meta glasses here. But yeah, I got the green one. Pretty sick. Is this where they all are? Yeah, see, there's the 6. So I picked up the green one. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Terrence, get to the money, bro. I know we're all close to a deal, Terrence. I'm looking forward to it. Jerry says, the reason I love this channel is Zander speaks the truth, doesn't kick the team and players ask to get clicks. No, I don't do that. I'd rather just be real. My 3 dream cars is still Hellcat, Demon, GTR, and a Skyline. Damn, Nissan guy. I like the Skylines. They're obviously sick cars. They're extremely expensive. But I've never been a huge Nissan dude. I think we had a dude in here yesterday who had the SR20 in his name. I'm pretty sure that's the Nissan motor, right? SR20. Yeah, that's the Nissan motor. Yeah, the Cirrus SR20. I know you don't. Just saying. Alfredo, if you don't got haters, man, I don't think you're doing enough. You want some meta? Honestly, Reyes, I feel like they're a little overrated. I won't lie to you. They're like a little overrated. Like they make them like this. They're really just a camera on your face. That's if you want them for just a camera on your face, they're good. But like they're awesome. They're ugly. They're pretty ugly. But like you would think the AI would be good. It's like, hey, Meta. It didn't even connect yet. There it goes. Now it's on. Hey, Meta. What can you do for me? Can you like help me? Can I talk to you? Can you be my Jarvis? I got to answer M. Reyes. What should I say back to him? He just said he wants some Gen 2 metas. I'm not Jarvis. You can talk to me. Shut up, Meta. Just take the damn photo. Just take the photo. Just take the photo, Meta. That's it, Keith. That's a good question. When I'm in Italy, maybe it will. I'll have to look into that. Challenger 392, looking for an 18 to 20. That's nice. That's probably. I think the 2020 was the S550, so you're looking S197, I believe. 2018. No. 26. That was S550. Because I think S550 came out in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I was off. 2020, it was 2016. When did the S550 come out? Was it 2016? S550 first year. Oh, shit. 14. I was off. So they did the S550 for 10 years? Damn, I didn't realize they did it that long. I thought it was like 6 or 8 years. 10 years they did with the S550. And the 18, I think they did the facelift. That makes sense. And then 2024, they went to the S650, which I think looks great. I'm a fan of it. Zay, you look like Carlos. I don't know who that is, Rich. You and the goofy comps. Yeah, Gen 6 Supras. People love Supras, dude. Yeah, Nissan and Toyota were always just the two that I never gravitated to. I understand why people love them. I will say that. I've never been critical of them or anything. They just wouldn't be like the first that I would go for. I've always liked the American cars more. And then if I went foreign, I'm going German. That's just always the way I've thought. I've always loved BMWs. I've always loved Porsches. I've always loved the German cars. And then American. I love American muscle, man. You know, so I would more go that route than a Nissan or a Toyota Supra. But look, Supras are iconic cars. I understand why people love them for sure. Yeah, S5. I just mean body style. It's just the body style for the Mustang. But yeah, I understand. S550 is obviously a model of a Mercedes. 18, right? That's right. Okay, all right. Now I remember. I don't think Meta. No, they're not. They're not that good. That little Mercedes, Keith? You like that little Mercedes? Hey, I go back and forth on Mercedes. Sometimes I wake up and I love them, and sometimes I'm like, eh. Like I'll buy an S-Class when I'm like 50 or something, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'll probably always just want like a fast car and a truck. I will say I'm working on something right now. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's got to come to life, but I'm working on, there's this leasing company in Texas. They're like one of the biggest leasing companies in the country. They're the biggest in Texas. And somebody reached out to me, and instead of basically me like always having to buy a car, like right now my Corvette for my channel, I own my Corvette. So I make content with it, but I own it. I bought it, I went through the ownership process, all that different things. And this leasing company was like, if you want, we'll do a deal with you where like 6 months or a year or even 90 days, we'll give you one of our cars for lease if you make videos and promote, people coming here to lease their car from us. If you make 6 videos and 10 videos, I'll give you a lease. Well, instead of paying you for the content, we'll pay the lease of the car, and then you can make content with the car. So I'm trying to get an M3 by doing that, where I wouldn't have to pay for it, and then I can make fucking bunch of videos with it. I can keep my vet, get my truck, and then keep my a flow of cars coming in for the channel. That would be ideal, because then you're not going any money out. It's kind of a barter deal where you're trading, not money, you're trading services. In their case, they would give me a lease deal for a couple months or 6 months or a year, and then I would give content and make content and put them as a sponsor on the content. So a lot of different things you can do, man. A lot of different things you can do. Japan makes the best. Yeah, I agree. American muscle for me, Step. I love American muscle cars. That's why I want the Cobra. Keith, don't worry. Keith, I've done enough brand deals to know how to do that. I've done enough brand deals to know how that is. Here, I'll show you what I sent him. This is I made this last night. This is what I was working on last night. Where is it? I think it's here. Here it is. You pull this up. This is my ZK's Garage website. I made a little landing page for them. Boom. ZK's Garage, DM Leasing. You can talk about this content, sponsor placement. They received 6 M3 videos, 10 clips. These are my channel numbers from just my spring launch. Existing proof of concept for my Corvette. So basically just showing them that I'll make buyer-focused videos with the M3 that would lead them to go and, get it from them. Premium placement. Boom. There you go. So I was talking to the owner, I was talking to the owner about it, and he's interested in it. And he thinks it's a really good idea because he's been wanting to use some different, conventional marketing methods. And I'm like, dude, this doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. You got 500 cars, in inventory. Give me one of them for 6 months. I'll make you a shit ton of social content. They can use the social content too if they want. So that's what I made. Pretty good, though. Pretty good. So we'll see if they bite. We'll see if they do it. If they do it, that'd be pretty sick because then I can be like, I can get a ton of cars and just make a shit ton of content. That would be sick. That'd be ideal. So, but all right, we'll see how it all shakes out. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today, per usual. All right, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I hope everybody has a great Mother's Day. If you're a mother out there, all right. If you're a mother out there, I'm not sure. Bird Gang Girl, obviously, I know you're a mother. Texas T, I believe you're a mother. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Any other mothers out there, I want to say happy Mother's Day to you. All right. Our world literally does not exist without the beautiful women who give birth to us all. Okay. So without moms, folks, all for naught. All for naught. So the beautiful dichotomy of man and women, I think, is a beautiful thing by God. And shout out to all the mothers out there. Shout out to all the ladies out there, all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to you. And thank you for your unconditional love of your children. I know my mother is the best mom in the world. I'm sure most of you will say the same thing about your mom. I absolutely love my mama. And she's a great mom. So happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for some of the super chats for the birthday. I'm not a big birthday guy, but Rich asked what I was up to, and I do appreciate some of you guys for sending those super chats. So hit that like button, and I will catch you guys on really this afternoon on Cilia if you guys tune in for that. If you don't, I'll catch you guys on Monday morning on Birds 365. Thank you all. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES, Eagles.